Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to Formula 4 Racing with me, CRG Geo, George Morgan here, back on your screens here for Formula 4, of course, on the PlayStation 4 platform. I am pleased to announce I'm not on my own. I am joined by my fellow countryman, fellow Welshman, Iestyn Thomas. Iestyn, how you doing?
Good evening, everyone. I think it'll be good. I don't think I'll be getting to that much levels of excitement this evening. But we're a very unique track, one of the most famous tracks in the world. And should be an interesting Grand Prix.
It certainly will be. We have got a fascinating encounter here for you tonight, folks. It's going to be absolutely off the chain. Formula 4 here, back with a vengeance here on Monday night. So I've got to say, your Monday night is just spiced up. Droftas leading the Drivers' Championship, albeit by only 5 points. Blaze in P2 after his fabulous win last week in Vietnam, looking to recruit yet another victory to his name once again. Young Stinson, of course, who has been on a bit of a winning streak, but then it sort of fell a bit lackluster. DNF in his last race, which certainly won't help. Alan, though, powering through in the Nintendo car alongside him, 67 points as well. And I've got to say, it's been impressive viewing, Iestyn. We've seen some very incredible performances. Alan, certainly one of the more consistent drivers on track. It's since the start of the season, nestling in, being a pot 2 driver, a P5 in his first race, followed up by another P5 in the second, a podium in his third race at Mexico, and a P4 at Vietnam. He certainly looks like an interesting character going through the season.
Yeah, he's driven well. He's one of those people that I think I said last week that he's been one of the drivers that have been there, but you don't really talk about him in the commentary box. But he's still there, up and fighting near the front. So see if he can carry on tonight. Obviously, the track will make it interesting for him. Hopefully, he can keep out the barriers. But yeah, see if he can keep it up in that Nintendo car.
Well, he carries bags of ability indeed, and we're looking forward to seeing what Alan can certainly do here tonight. Certainly plenty of formidable and capable drivers here across the grid. We're very much looking forward to it, of course, folks. Very soon we will be seeing the drivers head out into qualifying. It just gives us an opportunity, certainly, to talk about the track we are going to be certainly witnessing here tonight. Obviously, it's a very, very familiar layout. Monaco, of course, one of the most classic circuits in Formula 1, made up of several iconic bends. Saint-Devote being turn one, heading up Beau Rivage. Before you reach Massenet, that real tricky left-hander heading down towards Casino, and down the Casino stretch towards Mirabeau. You then got to try and tackle a bit of a swinging right-hander, very tricky. The wall on the near side, very dangerous if you get too close. Easily can go wrong if you go too far out wide. As you head down towards the Grand Hotel hairpin, you got to try and scale your car around that very tight section, heading down towards the next winding section of bends, heading towards Portier, which is the right-hander leading in towards the tunnel. You head through the tunnel and then over the brow of the hill towards the Nouvelle chicane. As you make your way through that, you've then got to power yourself through down towards what will be Tabach. Round Tabach, then that left-hander towards the Virage Louis Chiron. You weave your way through that section of curves, heading down towards the second chicane before you reach La Rascasse. And this one, very tricky. If you're late on the brakes, and certainly if you lock up the car, you can career into the barrier. That is a place you do not want to be. And next up is the famous Anthony Nogues bends as well. Again, very easy to get it wrong if you miss your step, heading over the brow and then heading through the next little small section of bends towards the home stretch. And that is where the drivers will be heading in order to nestle in their hot laps, their quali laps, and obviously the race as well. It's going to be a very thrilling encounter, Iestyn. Looking forward to seeing who is more capable at this track. I will say this though, Droftas, every time I've commentated on him around Monaco, he has won.
Well, that's obviously a positive. Them to we get underway for qualifying. I don't know if we got an invite or not, but we're certainly underway. You haven't missed drivers coming out of the pits. Laps underway. It looks like I can't really see on the cameras, but it looks like there's a little bit of rain. You need to get on board with the driver so I can see what tyres they're on. Just say intermediate condition for Q is opening qualifying session. We've got 17 here tonight, so we'll only be losing the two drivers from Q1 and intermediate, which is obviously intermediate conditions alone at any track will make it interesting. At Monaco, well, it's just to make it a little bit more fun, I think, because a different track and with intermediate conditions, anything could happen.
Yeah, well, obviously it being a street circuit, even in the dry conditions, Monaco can be less than forgiving. Certainly add in the wet weather, it makes those bends even more tricky as you try and don those intermediate tyres around this circuit. They may provide you with more grip, but maybe not enough, certainly heading around bends such as Saint-Devote. You can imagine a lot of the drivers may be cursing under their breath at the prospects of a wet race here at Monaco. It's going to be very intriguing. Some drivers you would not expect entering into the latter stages of qualifying to actually succeed here at Monaco. I've got to say, it's going to throw everything up in the air. Certainly the pot championships, where they're concerned, maybe it will favour more of the more careful, considerate drivers than the faster ones there, Iestyn.
Because with Monaco, I personally found it when I was doing my league racing around here that you don't have to be quick, and you do gain a few positions due to the fact that maybe the quicker drivers might be taking risks and therefore doing more mistakes or just crashing into a barrier, which is a common occurrence at Monaco. But yeah, I totally agree. And you might see some of the lower pot drivers getting a little bit more higher up the grid. Maybe I would qualify their own teammate who's in a different pot, which obviously we'll have to keep an eye out for.
Absolutely. Well, we'll certainly soon see that as well. I'm just awaiting, unfortunately, my game, which unfortunately has not downloaded yet. I'm literally half a second away, folks, or half a minute away, shall I say? Half a second, half a minute. I'm nearly going to be right with you. I've had to re-download my game, of course. Most of my time is spent on the PC when it comes to commentary. Of course, I neglected the PS4 quite some time ago, but making my valiant return here tonight to commentate my first PS4 race in a long time, and certainly looking forward to doing just that. And where better than the grandest stage of them all at Monaco? We're very lucky to be here. Of course, it's a very exciting circuit. It has brought us certainly many a dramatic moment, and obviously historically synonymous with certainly many trials and tribulations around the track. And Iestyn, if you'd like to take us through, obviously, some of the quali laps as we go around. Obviously, I'm just going to load up my game, but any eye catches so far from what you can see?
Well, there's only 2 drivers have set a lap. Paulie Orange set a 23.7, and then a 21.8, I believe. Yeah, 21.8 on his intermediate. So the only 2 to set a lap right now. There's a couple of drivers just going around on their lap there with a 33.1. He's put himself maybe a bit of a couple of mistakes on that lap I did see earlier in the lap. To set in a lap time, yeah, it's just people. So by the time we've joined, you might just see everyone chucking lap times in, which would be good for you, to say the least.
Absolutely. Obviously, looking forward to seeing what these drivers are going to be bringing to us. It's going to be absolutely enthralling. Obviously, Formula One never fails to amaze, and obviously Formula One associated with a lot of controversy and tribulations as well. We obviously saw Romain Grosjean crashing at Bahrain as well. That was over the weekend, and I've got to say, not a pleasant watch. I was in fact commentating on that race on Talk Formula, which I've got to say was a very distressing scene indeed. The shock on my face. I watched my reaction about 100 times after what happened that day, and it certainly did not make pleasant viewing, I have to say. But it's great to be back in the realm of esports, and we're glad to hear that Roman is okay, and we're going to power on now for the rest of the F1 season, and looking forward obviously to the racing that's ahead, certainly in the world of esports and in the world of league racing as well. Have you got an update for us there, Iestyn?
Well, Paul, who is on his in lap in the Jaguar, he's already set a lap time with a 33.1. He just hit his hit the barrier, the exit of the final chicane, and lost a bit of his front wing. That one helped him. But there's a couple of people who set more laps. You had Matteo in the Nintendo set a 24.6, same lap to Sloth, but Sloth was quicker by about half a tenth. Elam goes P3 with a 24.5. You know, everyone's setting laps, but a little bit behind Infamous Pillars, who's definitely put the gauntlet down for the rest of the grid to find out about it, and waiting to see if drivers can match that. We've got young Stinson out on a set of mediums, so as this show that the track could be drying out, even though it's visibly raining as I'm on board with him going through the hairpin. But yeah, he's out on mediums there, and the rest of the field are on intermediates.
Absolutely. It's certainly going to be interesting to see how they cope, certainly with the changing weather conditions. As the track dries up, obviously a lot of drivers may choose to opt for a different compound. Obviously that window is open to those drivers as well if they choose to use it. We're looking forward to seeing which driver makes the most of these strategies. I am now in the room now, Iestyn, seeing what's going on ahead, and I can see the droplets falling here at the Monaco circuit as we now join the action here at Monaco. Very exciting indeed. And without any further ado, let's rejoin qualifying. Currently out on a lap, we're riding on board with Paulie Orange, who is currently in P2 at 123 dead at this moment in time. Not enough to tackle Infamous Pillars, nailing a 121.833. Well clear, in fact. 1.2 seconds clear, Iestyn. Very impressive.
Yeah, it was a good lap from Pillars. Ramsell's just retired the car at turn 1. So there must have been that barrier in the middle of it, well, near the exit of turn 1. That must have caught him out. He sat a lap, but I'm not sure what's happened there. But yeah, it's a bit interesting. I think he's been at turn 1, but I'm not too sure of that.
No, very interesting indeed. And Paulie Orange now making his way down through sector 2. A little bit wobbly there, maybe trying to find some grip there on those inters. Obviously, I can imagine that they will need a lot of warming up, obviously, on this very cold circuit. Obviously, early stages at Monaco, or any other circuit for that matter, will take time to warm up. And we're only into the initial 10 minutes of qualifying, as we now see Paulie Orange now making his way down the stretch. Is it going to be an improvement here for that man in the JCB car coming down across the line? And no, he's going to be continuing. Well, he has improved slightly at 122.412, and it knocks it down just a little bit. Only around 6 tenths separating them now, Iestyn.
Yeah, that was a tidy lap, and Denge has put himself P3 with a 23-1. Young Stinson's trial on the mediums didn't go as well, as he sat a 126.7. I didn't see who that was who just jumped up to the P2. It was Zoftas who sat a 22 flat, so he's within a couple of tenths of Pillars, but no one can get in within the 1 minute 21s unless your name is Infamous Pillars.
Yeah, but he's a former Monaco winner. And I have to say, every time I've commentated, like I said before, on Droftas at Monaco, he has won the Monaco Grand Prix. And indeed, a 122.037 is going to go a long way into his prospects for this race. Just watching him go around the casino hairpin now. And very shortly around the next right-hander, or the Grand Hotel hairpin, I should say. Coming round, indeed, what will be the next right before he reaches the tunnel. And, of course, tunnel can easily throw a few spanners in the works. Certainly if you're there in the wet weather, it can throw you into the barriers as he makes his way down towards the Nouvelle chicane. And you want to take that as tight as possible to give yourself the best exit possible. The two JCB cars currently Ps2 and 3, currently P2 in the championship. They need some good points here today, certainly Iestyn, as they've got to try and chase Nintendo, who've got 211 points in the title race.
Yeah, Nintendo have got that very nice luxury of having young Stinson in the team, so obviously that would help them as he won the opening couple of races before that interesting DNF at Vietnam last time out. Blaze has just set a 26.3 home P11, so that might be a lap time that could be in danger near the end of this session. But yeah, just drivers setting lap times, but they're a bit spread out.
They are, yeah. I'd imagine that a lot of these times will come crashing down as we head through qualifying. Early stages suggest Infamous Pillars leading the charge at the moment. The only driver in the 121s at the moment, folks. A 121.833, the time to beat. Droftas in P2. It says purple, but it's only a 122 for now. Paulie Orange in P3 with a 122.4. 4 tenths to a second approximately away from his teammate Droftas, who's now in P2. And Denge for the Jaguar F1 team currently in P4. Alien, obviously representing Nintendo, are currently top in the billing. Alien in a good stretch of consistent form, regularly reaching the top end of the points classifications. Nintendo come into this in superb fettle and superb form. Their team leader, though, young Stinson, down in P13, yet to string together a positive lap. Yes, Stin.
Yeah, so he went out on the mediums, so he's back out on the inters. Obviously, the time on the mediums did not work, so he's gone out on a fresh set of intermediates, which is what the rest of the grid were doing. And, well, he's going to be setting the lap time, yeah, hopefully. He just slows down in his out lap, going into Anthony Nose, and it starts his lap. Obviously, no DRS as he comes up to the start-finish line. He breaks into turn 1. Make sure you don't hit the wall on the outside, or don't cut inside that.
No, and
flat out here.
He's currently rising up now, the Beau Rivage section of the circuit, coming round Massenet and now round Casino. Of course, this man has won countless races here in Formula 4. He's won the race at Singapore, followed up by a win at the UK. Mexico, a P1 as well as a very unfortunate DNF at Vietnam, as he now makes his way around the Casino, or the Grand Hotel hairpin, around the next right-hander. Portimao next, Portier next, as he makes his way around this next right. Tunnel is dead ahead as well. Sloots his way into Tunnel and bearing his way around this next right-hander, coming out on the outset towards the Nouvelle chicane. And as he does so, wants to try and break a little earlier, perhaps try and get the cut on the inside. It's looking far more positive here for young Stinson. He comes round towards the next left-hander, this being Tabach now, heading down after Tabach towards the barrage. Louis Chiron takes it well. He's got another chicane that beckons now. He wants to try and put himself on the power straight away. Can young Stinson send his way back to the top once again as he heads round Rascasse, soon to be the Anthony Nogues as well, the final section of bends before he completes his hot lap. Here comes young Stinson now, up towards the line. Can he nail a positive lap time? A 121.864, a fly's eyelash away from Pillars. He's on the front row of the grid. Young Stinson, Nintendo on top end spot.
Obviously, Blaze has gone into the 21s as well with a 21.9. And I wanted to say, when did Portier, when did that part of the track end up in Portugal? That's what I want to know. But But I Am Sloth has retired from the session. I can't see pit lane, or he's at a crash somewhere. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. Obviously, I think that counters with the if someone retires in the pit lane, there'd be a yellow flag there anyway. But yeah, this is the little dull part of now. There's nothing is left. Everyone returned to the pits, getting ready for the last runs of Q1.
Absolutely. It's still to play for though, folks. Obviously, early doors. You're going to find a lot of the drivers are going to be making their way out with a few minutes left to go. Obviously, the track will be at its warmest. Chewy now out on a lap as well, looking to do the business here for Team Nintendo. Of course, trying to increase their deficit at the top of the constructors' standings. And Nintendo can be proud of what they've done this season. Certainly, the more consistent team. Their drivers considerably always turning up to races and, of course, doing extremely well during the races as well. Young Stinson, of course, being the most impressive in terms of race wins. Alien has been up there fighting against the Pot 1 drivers, despite being a Pot 2 man himself. He's beaten them on various occasions, a P3 spot to his name to boot as well at Mexico. As we now see Chewy making his way through the last stages of Sector 3. He's currently got 110 under his belt now as Droftas goes P1 with a 121.628. That's a phenomenal lap time and tips Pillars off the edge of the bridge down into P2. Relegates Young Stinson in the process. Front end, Droftas tops your billing here in Q1 at 121.628. Very impressive, Iestyn.
Yeah, well, I didn't realise he's on track. I just when I saw occasion come, I was like, oh, I didn't realise he's on. That's me missing something that I was supposed to note this down. That's a brilliant lap. 121. Yeah, that's a brilliant confidence booster.
Oh, it's huge for JCB, and you can certainly imagine Droftas will be looking to pile on the agony here. Of course, Droftas has had a very good season himself. He's had lots of podium finishes, a P3 in the first race at Singapore. That's 18 points, along with a fastest lap and a pole position, giving him an added 2 points. And he then had a second place at Silverstone there, which garnered him 19 points. Another second there in Mexico, and as well as pole position as well. If things stay the way they are in Q3, he will be claiming another 2 points for a pole position as he makes his way down the straight. Looking to go quicker again as he comes across the line. He's surely not going to do it again as he comes across a 122.095. Does not improve, but he is still 0.2 of a second ahead of Infamous Pillars. Very impressive.
There's a race control message then. The DRS is now enabled, so obviously the rear wing flap that you looks like a letterbox. That'll be available for the drivers to use to get a little bit of speed down the back straight. But obviously there's still conditions, but there are a couple of people out on softs. Most noticeably, Pillars and Stinson are both out on softs, and see what they can do in the last minute of Q1 just to get themselves ready for the remainder.
Well, Stinson there just going across the chicane indeed, trying to make his way around the next left-hander. He's got a hot lap dead ahead of him now, as we now watch young Stinson now powering through the latter stages of this track. He's going to be starting his hot lap shortly. Of course, trying to save as much fuel as possible. The rain's starting to subside here at Monaco. And on the soft tyres, young Stinson looking promising. Paul Watson has retired as well. We've had 3 retirees in this qualifying session already, as young Stinson now heads up towards the first turn, of course, that being Sander Valt, as he now heads up through the long straight, that being the Beau Rivage section. And very soon he'll be meeting his maker at Massenet. And very soon the Casino Bend indeed before the straights. You can now see the Jaguar car there almost just catching him out, almost in the way there of young Stinson as he rounds the next right-hander. That being Casino down towards Mirabeau. And he's done Mirabeau. He's now down to the Grand Hotel hairpin that he now takes on, heading down towards the next right-hander, down towards Portier. And young Stinson, what can he do for the Nintendo team? I mean, obviously, Alien there in P6, representing the Nintendo team as well. As we now see young Stinson now down towards this next series of bends. As Blaze goes P1 on the inters as well, knocking down Droftas' time by 0.2. Really impressive there as well, Iestyn. Young Stinson, though, he could well trump the lot of them. He is on the softs. Oh, my word! Not. That was very, very close. Commentator's curse there delivered by myself. But just look at this now, because Pillars is also on a hot lap. and gets crushed there by near enough his own teammate. I think that was his own teammate anyway. I think there must have been a bin car there heading into Sector 3 there. I'm not sure what's going on there.
I think that car is retired, and it's very... Chewy is out on the softs. He's in the Nintendo as well, so he will get a lap time in, hopefully, unless something goes drastically wrong in this last corner. Nope, all looks good, all flies to the line, but it won't be a representative lap. That's unfortunate for Chewy. He goes P5 with 22 flat, but that was a little bit of a surprise. I think going faster than that.
It was certainly very impressive. We're now seeing Pillars coming through towards the Grand Hotel hairpin. And he's got a lot of work to do here, of course. Obviously, some interesting lap times being set on intermediates, though on the softs he should have a distinct advantage. We'll have to see how he's able to cultivate that. Young Stinson, obviously, as well, out on the softs. Chewy as well. Blaze is retired from the session. Obviously happy that 121 is going to be hard to beat. And I can certainly imagine that's a pretty good safety net for that man, certainly, in the BMW car, as we're now seeing Infamous Pillars for Team MTV Motorsport coming round towards the next chicane. Indeed, as he does so, grip into every single apex, and indeed, that's where it's going to finish up. Q1 is over and done with. Pillars is going to finish in P3, but Blaze doing the business. He finishes in P1. Droftas there in P2. A great drive from him to snatch what he did earlier on. Infamous Pillars in P3. Young Stinson P4. Chewy in P5. Aylin P6. Paulie Orange P7. And Denge P8. All shot down P9. LPE P10. Mad Scientist into P11 and into Q2, as well as Chazza, Matteo and Paul Watson, the last of the cars entering Q2. I am Sloth and Ramsel and Zexis. He will also be out in Q1. Q2 looks interesting, Iestyn. What are your thoughts leading into that next session?
Nintendo cars are doing quite well for themselves. Obviously, Stinson and Aylin, we've obviously seen have been up near the front anyway that so far this season. Chewy there on the softs. I think he'd want to go a little bit quicker than the 22 flat, but yeah, he's doing good for himself. He's obviously got that bit of experience on the soft tyre, unlike the rest of the field. Obviously, you saw Stinson and Pillars both on the on those lap in, so he knows where it's like to set a lap on those softs, the red striped tyre, and as Q2 the session is a little shorter than Q2, but we've got 14 drivers. Obviously not like real life, where obviously we had 15, but we haven't got a full grid this evening. Obviously this go through just like we see in real life Formula 1, as the cars are supposed to be slowly go on as the track dried up enough, and hopefully we'll get to see some cars on softs.
Absolutely, yes, Tin. It's going to be interesting to see how they cope now with the dry conditions. Obviously a very massive change up here in proceedings. It's a wonder whether some of these drivers have actually equipped themselves to a wet setup to sort of allow for the rain that was happening in Q1. It's a question certainly that has to be answered. Obviously the biggest question is, are we going to see a return of the wet weather? Because it certainly seems to me that the clouds in the sky are still looking a little grey. A very good chance that we might still see damp conditions. Paul Watson out on track right now, heading around the next left, and now around the next right, down towards what will be the Mirabeau corner. And Team Jaguar have a lot of work to do this season. P5 in the championship, 116 points, but they could make it extremely good here if they can take advantage of qualifying. That being said, there's 3 of them in this qualifying session. Paul Watson and Denge and LPE, all representing the green livery team.
Yeah, and Paul was, I think, it's the first time he was in the Q2 last time out at Vietnam. So obviously, he'd be sniffing an opportunity of trying his best to get into for the first time this season. And Denge, he started last time out in Vietnam, and he had a really good. Obviously, LP, I don't think he showed up last week, unfortunately. See if he can get himself into the top 10.
Absolutely, he certainly has the muscle for it. He's a consistent racer. He's done it before. All Shot Down is also out on a lap as well. We haven't seen much from the BMW team in qualifying, but we're here now. And All Shot Down now making his way around the Grand Hotel hairpin. Very soon, round this winding section. and heading around Portier before he reaches the tunnel section. As you can now see him just rounding that final curve, heading into the tunnel now. And very soon he'll be making his way down towards the Nouvelle Chicane. And as he does so, wants to break just in between the 50 and the 100. And does just that, cuts in across. Great tight movements there from that BMW car, heading through that section now into Sector 3, very soon proper into the next chicane once again. And as he does so, looks very menacing in this blue livery, heading into the next right-hander. Of course, this being the Anthony Noakes coming up shortly after Raskas as he makes his way through, bundles the BMW through this section. Very soon he'll be the first to cross the line. All shot down past Paulie Orange at 110.363. Very impressive from All Shot Down, representing the Pot 3 Championship. He certainly will be interesting to watch during the race. The BMW car tops the billing, an initial lap of a 110.
Yeah, obviously the quickest lap time we've seen today, because that's the first competitive lap we've seen on the slicks. And there's a spinner at the chicane. I think that was either Elam or Matteo. I believe it was the latter. Matteo going for a spin on entry. I remember doing that when I first picked up the F1 game back in F1 2010. That was a long time ago. Paul set a 14.2, and here comes Stinson, who's gone on the mediums for the start of this Q2, and he's got a 10.3, just pipping All Shot Down. That's a very good lap for the Nintendo car, and they'll put him obviously on provisional pole, but there's still 11 minutes of this one, plus another session after to come.
Yeah, Paul Watson as well, nestling himself into P3, 4 seconds off the pace for now. Obviously, don't read too much into the initial laps, folks. There is certainly realms for improvement as the track warms up. Further down, Aylin also out on an out lap, so Team Nintendo looking to really squash the numbers here in Q2, looking to further their championship prospects. They certainly look to be a team in form at this moment in time. And Denge as well, out on a fast lap as well. Team Jaguar need all the help they can get, and this is the man that can give it to them, the Swedish driver and Denge, looking to do just that. He's got a great history of winning races, and don't write him off here at Monaco. He has got the pace, he has got the racecraft. Do not write him off whatsoever. His recent performances have been impressive. He's been leading this team pretty much since Total Peas' hardware incident has left him without a console to play the platform on. And Denge currently with a P4, a P7, P5 and P6 to his name. Pretty much trying to drag the Jaguar contingent through this season so far, and they need all the help they can get. But if they can scoop some impressive results here today, Iestyn, they can easily turn their form around.
Yeah, just wanted to say that Stinson's improved in his lap on those mediums to a 9.6. And Infamous Pillars is in the wall at Casino, which is a very interesting one. The outside wall, obviously the exit. And Denge goes P3 with a 10.4. It's a little bit close there. All Shot Down and Denge, but Infamous Pillars in a wall. He won't be taking part in this qualifying session and will remain P14.
No, that's a huge blow to MTV, because that means that their Pot 1 driver is out of Q3. And so it's all up to Chazza now. He's the only MTV Motorsport driver left in qualifying, which is huge, as Paulie Orange for JCB nets a 109.640, trumps the medium time of a 109.662 by young Stinson by around 0.02 of a second. Absolutely unbelievable scenes there. But young Stinson doing his time on the mediums. If he puts on the softs, he can really trump. If he does exactly the same time he did before, or exactly the same type of certainly the exact same type of lap he did before, he can easily trump the time there by Paulie Orange. All Shot Down still in P3. Very impressive, at least to start his stint. He is still in the pits, about to go out on fresh softs, and Denge is out on the mediums still, as well as Aylin as well, who's out on track. Chewy as well. Mad Scientist also out there for JCB, really trying to shoot past now that Jaguar driver and Denge, as we're now seeing the JCB car here of Mad Scientist heading around what will be the final couple of bends, heading down the stretch now. The paddock on the right hand side. Can Mad Scientist tip the balance here with a good positive one? P7 there for that man, a 111.133, and that will certainly help them push their way up the classifications. Remember, top 10 go through to Q3, so qualifying now has never been more important.
Blaze has just dismantled the rest of the field by about half a second with a 109.104 and put his BMW top of the timing sheets. And well, that's just right after the BMW.
It's a massive result, certainly for BMW. Blaze getting the top spot there. Indeed, Iestyn, a 109.104. And that light blue livery now gracing its presence at the top end, trumping Paulie Orange's time by 0.5 of a second. That is absolutely massive in the context of Formula 1, and that goes to show why Blaze is a pot 1 driver. Of course, he's not the only one out on track, though. There's plenty out and about, including Andenge, who's looking to go quicker for Team Jaguar. By the looks of it, for the time being, this is not going to be a hot lap as he makes his way round towards the paddock, as we're now seeing Matteo out on track as well, looking to improve his prospects indeed for Nintendo. And I got to say, keep an eye on this youngster, because he is one to watch. He is leading the Pot 3 Championship. Currently 10 points ahead of All Shot Down, who is in P4. So this man, he could go better. He's got every chance here of nestling himself at the top end as Droftas goes into P4 himself with a 109.697. A good lap time there from the new Portonian. And indeed, as we now see, Matteo 21 rounding the next left-hander now, that being Tabach, heading into the next chicane. Here comes the Nintendo car. He has got a lot of time to make up. He's getting there, though, as he makes his way round towards what will be Raskas. Soon the Anthony Nogues will beckon. The Nintendo once again looking to scratch himself into the top 10. As you can see, Chewy's up there as well as Aylin and Young Stinson. Here comes Matteo into P9. A great movement indeed there from that team. A 110.753. That is literally 0.03 of a second again, or at least a millionth of a second there behind Aylin, his teammate. And Nintendo with all 3 drivers in the top 10 and Chewy just outside with a 112.123. Very interesting indeed. Nintendo in hot form, Iestyn.
Yeah. And he had a bit of a correction at Casino, went straight into the wall. A piece of debris went flying in the air, which is binched into the sea. So he's obviously lost a chunk front wing, and I believe a new set of softs. So that's kind of ruined his qualifying there with that collision with the barrier. But yeah, nice to see the Nintendos obviously having a week with three of the drivers, and Chewy just outside. Obviously, he's got 5.5 minutes now to improve on that lap and overtake Mad Scientist, or maybe even his own teammates to get into the top 10.
Absolutely, and I got to say, as the qualifying moves on, we're going to be seeing some more interesting movements again. Blaze top in the billing still with a 109.104. Paulie Orange still on the front row, as we've got plenty of contenders out on track. Paul Watson looking to go quicker again, but he overshoots his move at the Nouvelle chicane and ends up cutting the circuit, so that's going to invalidate his time. Not ideal at all for that man, as we now look and see that Droftas is in the pits now, and Denge is out and about as well on an outlap. Paulie Orange as well looking to go quicker, but as things stand with 4.5 minutes left to go, Iestyn, at the moment, Blaze looks untouchable on that 109.104. That is a tremendous gap between him and Paulie Orange. 0.5 of a second, no less. That's going to be tough to beat.
If you want to beat that. Things went from bad to worse for Paul. He locked up, as you saw, and cut the chicane to invalid his lap. And then he went for a spin at Tabak, which kind of killed all his momentum. Now he's back in the... not good for the Jags. Obviously, 12th and 13th doesn't look good for them at all. Obviously, Andenge's in P7, but obviously things can change in the last 4 minutes, especially Q2. It could be people on absolute flying laps, and obviously you might have a time where none of the Jaguars make Q3.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got to say, anything can happen in Formula 1, and certainly around Monaco when the walls are so tight. And Denge now making his way around on mediums, and obviously qualifying on mediums will certainly give you a grand advantage. But I would imagine the track position is probably more vital, as we're now seeing Andenge making his way down towards the line. And indeed, can he go quicker indeed with a 110.011? And on mediums, that is an absolute juggernaut of a lap time. Sends him ahead of Chatter and All Shot Down. He is now tucked in behind Droftas and all the Tier 1 drivers pretty much. Paulie Orange ahead of his Tier 1 teammate there in P2. Blaze currently in P1, but bear in mind, Young Stinson and Droftas have yet to set times on the softs, but I'd imagine that they see no reason why they should change their compounds, because they can go into Q3 with a lot more tyres available to them, Iestyn.
Yeah, Paulie Orange has just got within 7... This time with a 109.171. Put himself, retains his P2, and obviously he's a really nice lap there for the JCB car.
Certainly is, and he's going to keep going as well. Paulie Orange, he loves a fight, he loves a victory, and he's just the man to cultivate success, certainly here for the JCB team. They have got some great drivers in their team. Droftas, of course, being another one, as well as Mad Scientist, who is currently in the top 10. JCB on task to qualify into Q3 with 3 of their drivers here today, and one can only imagine how many points they could scoop up here today. Blaze as well, representing BMW, all shot down as well with him, also in the top 10. So BMW could also go into Q3 with 2 drivers. Droftas retiring from the session. Confidence there by Team BMW to suggest that young Stinson, with the army of Nintendo cars, they've got 3 cars in the top 10. Chewy just outside will have every opportunity. He's going to leave it last minute. He needs to go out now, unless he wants to qualify in P11, which is a very advantageous position because you get your choice of compound at the start of the race.
Yeah, I'd much rather start P11 than get into Q3. Obviously, the brand new set of tyres will do you wonders at the start of the Grand Prix. Yellow flag in Sector 3, but I'm not sure what that is. Mad Scientist on a lap to improve on his lap time of 1:11.1 and make sure he gets into Q3. And obviously, the Pillars won't be back in this session. I don't know what the 2 Jags are gonna put a fight out these last two to get into the top 10. So I think Mad Scientist could be alright, but he's out on to improve his lap. They're going into the back.
Yeah, we're now looking as we see All Shot Down coming into the pit lane. Mad Scientist coming through the latter stages of this lap now. We're just watching him on board as he heads through Rascasse, and very stiff. He runs almost too wide there, oversteer there by that the JCB car coming through the Anthony Noakes bend now down the stretch. What's Mad Scientist going to post here today? Is it going to be gold? It is a 1:10.875. He improves by just a little bit, but it's 2 seconds clear of Chewy as he heads into the wall, but it's enough. He's in the top 10 with 40 seconds to go. Blaze still on top with Paulie Orange in P2. JCB with 3 contenders heading into the last stages of qualifying.
Obviously, LP and Paul, they're both out on their lap times, but I'm not sure how they would stack up against that 10-8 from Mad Scientist and the JCB. LP and Paul's bought his lap, and LP will complete his lap actually. See what this is. I don't know. I don't think it will be enough. No, it's not. Shame for the Jaguars. Only one of them into Q3, and P and Paul are both out of this qualifying session.
Yeah, amazing scenes here. Blaze takes top spot, a 109. The only one of the few drivers that actually nailed a 109 here in this session. Amazing to think that young Stinson and Droftas pulled that time off, given the fact that they were on the medium compounded tyre. Droftas did have the softs booted to his car, but of course did not set a time on them at all. So at this stage, the compounds that are going to be donned by young Stinson and Droftas will be the mediums heading into the race. They'll be joined by Anne Denge. So you've got to think the way the strategy is ironed out now, the young Stinson, Droftas and Anne Denge go into it with the advantage heading into the race, because these are the compounds that these drivers will be starting on. Blaze will be hoping to pick up his bags and head home with those soft tyres on, as we now see LPE coming round towards the latter stages of qualifying. This is to get himself into that Q3 spot. As he now makes his way around, he's going to be the last of the cars to complete a lap here, as well as Matteo, who is still out and about as well. As we now see the Jaguar car, they need a result here. They've only got one driver in Q3, and that's Andenge, but no LPE, not happy with the lap. As well as out is Matteo, who moves up to P8 ahead of his teammates, and Matteo having a courageous qualifying session, going ahead of his teammate Alan there, who's in P9. So Nintendo fielding 3 cars, as well as the JCB team, who have got 3 cars as well. It's going to be a fair fight between the top 2 in the constructors' standings.
Yeah, LP, he invalid his lap somewhere. Obviously, the track map lit up red, so obviously that's a signal that he invalid his lap. So that's why he went into the pits. And yeah, it should be interesting to see Q3. Obviously, got so many different cars as qualifying Q2 is coming to an end.
Yeah, and we'll look forward to heading into the latter stages of qualifying now. Q3 beckons indeed. And that is when, of course, we'll decide who's where on the grid. But Blaze is your P1 city here in Q2. Paulie Orange in P2, as well as Young Stinson P3, Droftas P4, the Welshman doing well, and Denge in P5, Chazza P6, all shot down in P7, Matteo in P8, Alien in P9, Mad Scientist P10, and your unfortunate losers are Chewy, who will start in that P11 spot, LPE P12, Paul Watson P13, Infamous Pillars will round them off in P14 after DNFing at the very start, careering into the wall. Not an ideal day at the office for Pillars there, and one of the shocks of the session indeed, Iestyn. I think we seem to have lost Iestyn there. I think he's had a few problems with his microphone, I think, a little bit. We've had him cut out a couple of times, but we're just about to head out into Q3 as things stand. Already as they begin to exit the garage. We will bring coverage back once again for the start of this qualifying session. Very much looking forward to seeing who is managing to, well, cope with the testing conditions here at Monaco. The corners are always relentless year on year. And already we've seen the drivers lead the bay. We can see that Andenge is the first to leave his grid position. The Jaguar, who's cut in front of by that of Mad Scientist for JCB. So he'll be the first out on track. And I got to say, Iestyn, looking ahead into Q3, this is, of course, where they decide their grid slots. We've done tyre choices. What can we expect now in Q3, now with all these drivers who have made it through the elimination stages?
Something we will see is some extremely quick laps on some soft tyres. Obviously, you have a few drivers who decided to go onto the mediums in Q2. That's where they'll be starting on. So now they'll have the chance. I think they'll have two sets of offs just to fly around the streets of Monaco, which obviously is exciting for us to watch.
Yeah, well, certainly it's going to be a big test. Mad Scientist now coming through the tunnel, awaiting to start his flying lap. He's on an out lap right now, coming down through the Nouvelle Chicane. And as he does so, that JCB orange livery, ever so familiar, coming down towards the next left now, that being Tabach, and flying through this sector of the Monaco street circuit, heading down towards the next chicane. And now he's going to meet Raskas. And once again, you want to be careful you don't hit the wall there. A late break, he almost cuts inside, nearly losing traction as Mad Scientist now heads out to begin his fast lap. Let's see what this man can do. Obviously, JCB looking for a grandiose performance here today. They've got a lot of work to do to try and knock Nintendo Racing off top spot as they come up now through the Beau Rivage section of the circuit, coming around what will be the next left-hander before Casino. And as they do so, this JCB livery powering its way through the Monte Carlo street circuit, coming around Massenet now, and obviously looking ever so prominent. Sorry, Mirabeau that was, coming around Grand Hotel. And very shortly, he'll meet Portier, which will be the final right-hander before he reaches the tunnel. And indeed, the JCB team will want to, again, plough as many points as possible, whether it be fastest laps or pole positions. Of course, the latter is something they can achieve here in this session, as we can now see Mad Scientist coming down towards the Nouvelle Chicane now, cuts in to that chicane, and it looks good. Very tight indeed, coming down towards Tabach. He's just coming towards the latter stages of Sector 2 now, heading through the next chicane, the Barrage Louis Chiron, into the next chicane now, and very soon he will meet Raskas once again. Can he keep it tidy this time as he now sees a Jaguar car dead behind him there, and a spin heading round that latter stage, and you have to wonder there, Iestyn, whether the Jaguar had something to do with that.
He might have, and Denge, the Jaguar, sets a 109.5. Mad Scientist is in fact invalid his lap at the chicane. He did slice it a little bit as Droftas in fact scores on provisional pole with a 9.2 on the softs. And we're waiting for other drivers to come out. Young Stinston has only now come out of the pits for his out lap. Blaze is in the last sector, going for the last chicane before coming into Raskas. Let's see what the BMW can do. As I think that was Ilum who sets a 19.5, a bit off the pace. But here comes Blaze, a 9.3, puts in P2, a 10th off pole.
Yeah, superb lap time there from Blaze. BMW now in second place in the provisional listings, ready for the end of qualifying. Droftas leading the way though, a 10th ahead, or just 5/10 ahead. Or sorry, no, half a second ahead. Oh, sorry, it is half a second, 5/10. Yeah, it's in P1 currently. Paulie Orange in P3. The JCB team on the front row and second row of the grid. That's a good place for them to be. Looking further down, you got Paulie Orange, as I said, and Denge in P4 for Jaguar. And then a gap then to Matteo, who is in P5 with a 1:11.471. Quite the gap there, Iestyn. Approximately 2 seconds separating Andenge and Matteo, which is phenomenal to see. But we've still got more drivers to come through. But yeah, a very crushing deficit there between that of Matteo and Andenge.
Yeah, obviously we don't know what happened to Andenge. He might have had a mistake or something in his fast lap. And I think that was Elam who improves on his 19.5 set of 10.3, puts in P5, still 8/10 off Andenge. So I think the Nintendo car will be looking to improve on that one. Obviously, Stinson is out on a lap as Paulie Orange jumps into the 1:08 with an 8.876, puts him on pole. That's by far the fastest that we've seen. The first person in the 8, and it's the Paulie Orange of all people.
Yeah, not only that, Stinson has binned it going around Portier and lost his front wing. Just seen him go round after Paulie Orange nailed a 1:08 there, 8.76 to his name. A phenomenal lap time there from Paulie Orange. And once again, JCB lighting up qualifying here. Both of them on the front row of the grid right now. What could that mean for the start of this Grand Prix? Having the 2 orange cars tipping the top spot here, as we now see that All Shot Down is out on a flying lap. Mad Scientist out on an outlap. Aylin as well, who's coming through into Sector 3 now. And Team Nintendo need an upturn in their fortunes here in qualifying. 6 minutes left to go here as the red car makes its way around Raskas, coming into the pit lane. It's not happy. Aylin's not happy. He's going to come in for a rethink, maybe a jiggle, and put a fresh set of boots on before he exits once again to try and tip the scale in this Q3. Blaze currently in the pits as well. We got Andenge on an outlap as well, as Team Jaguar look for an upturn in their fortunes. Andenge, the only representative for Jaguar in Q3, and he's got it all to do, Iestyn.
Yeah, and obviously other drivers now were out on their laps, and obviously Mad Scientist, who's down in P9. Obviously got also Joan, who's in the second BMW in this session, and Denge obviously needs to get a lap time in, and a quick one at that. He's the only Jag in this session, and he's obviously in P4, which isn't a bad position as he starts his lap going to the exit at turn 1 and up the hill going into turns 3, 4. So obviously young Stinson's now being put under pressure. He bottled his lap at the exit of Portier, and obviously what's the Mad Scientist do here? He comes across the line set an invalid lap. That will hurt him, but he's obviously going to go again in that JCB car. And, should be an intriguing end to qualifying.
It certainly will. He's just coming up through Beau Rivage now, through Massenet, now heading around the Casino Bend. And Mad Scientist obviously invalidating that last lap, but he's going to keep going. That last lap was a 1:11 invalidated, so he would have been close to Matteo at that point. Young Stinson still yet to field a time. He is out on an outlap now, so we look forward to seeing what the Dutch driver can do. He's making his way around the next left-hander, this being Massenet now, into the next right, the Casino Bend, heading down the Casino stretch before he reaches Mirabeau. And as he does so, just powers down. You want to go down to first gear and then power up and quick shift up through the gears in order to make the most of that bend at Mirabeau, as he now makes his way around the Grand Hotel on the outset, now heading down towards Portier. And through the tunnel now, the tunnel section, of course, can be ever so tricky because you're heading out of the sunlight into the tunnel. The track can be very different in temperature thanks to the tunnel section. Obviously, the heat you get from the sunlight, it disappears pretty much because obviously you're sheltered in that tunnel section, and that is where the traction can change. And certainly in wet conditions, it's pretty much the same, as we're now seeing young Stinson heading round the next chicane again. Raskas dead ahead. Can he apply the pressure here to the top end? As you can now see him on an outlap. And very soon he will be starting his fast lap indeed. So he's trying to warm up the tyres, warm up the engine, get himself up to optimal temperatures. What do you think, Iestyn? Can young Stinson do the business here?
I'm not going to predict anything, but it's going to be very close up front. Unfortunately, the Mad Scientist, he invalidated the last chicane and had a bit of a moment. But I'd see what Stinson can do here.
Well, he's coming down now towards that of Massenet. And just trickling his car around that bend now. Very tricky, this Monaco circuit. Certainly lots of trials and tribulations to negotiate your way around as he comes around the Grand Hotel down towards Portier. And I've got to say, young Stinson, very impressive at the start of this season through the tunnel now. And if there's a time to make some magic, it is here today as he comes down towards the Nouvelle chicane. And wants to try and get a nice tight, or hit the apex as tight as possible on the outside. Now goes past the barrier, heading down towards Tabach now. And very soon he'll be making that move into Sector 3. Comes down through the Virage Louis Chiron chicanes, heading down towards Raskas now. And this looks very impressive here from the Dutch driver. Young Stinson just clips the wall there and sends his car for a ride. Very nearly losing it there as he makes his way through Anthony Noakes. And that might have caused a few issues there as he comes up across the line. A 109.992, that's all he could field. And with 2 minutes left to go, that could really hamper Nintendo's chances at the start of the race.
Yeah, that mistake could have cost him a couple of positions actually, because it's so close up to P2 with a 9.2. That could have cost him easily a few tenths. He might be going again, I'm not too sure. I think he's aborted this lap definitely. Was he trying his best to get round now and get his head down and focus again and start another qualifying lap?
Yeah, and also out in the flying lap is our P1 sitter, Paulie Orange, 666 now, coming into Sector 3, a little bit of a wiggle coming out of that last chicane, coming around Raskas now as he makes his way up through the next Anthony Noakes bends, heading down the stretch as the DRS becomes active. Paulie Orange coming up across the line, can he improve? A 109.047, not enough to tip the balance in his favour, but he still leads the way. The only driver in the 108s, just how tough is it to get into that 108s there?
Yeah, very tough. You have to be quick and avoid the barriers, obviously, around here if you want to get into the 108. Obviously, the two cars behind him, a couple of tenths off. Blaze is on a lap now. He's going into the casino. See what he can do. His yellow flag sector 2 and 3, but those have cleared just in time for him to reach Mirabeau. It's a purple sector 1 according to the game. Obviously, sometimes the game does give us some false information, a bit of fake news, as they'd say. There's yellow flags in Sector 2, but that could be just the congestion of 3 cars at the tunnel. As Blaze is entering the tunnel now, and obviously with 35 seconds left, he has to get this right if he wants any opportunity of pole. Going into the chicane, runs a little bit wide, but that will be okay. Going into the back, and the last sector split is coming up soon. And he's 5 tenths up, according to his delta. This would be very close. As he comes into Raskas, no, there's a car there. I didn't see what it was. As Matteo it was in the Nintendo. As he's about to start his lap, as Blaze about to end it. What can Blaze do? It is a 108.738. That is pole. That is a brilliant lap from the BMW, and that's put him on provisional pole.
A 108.738 tips the balance in the favour of BMW, but they're not on their own. Droftas out now. The Welshman, the Newportonian, coming at it like a shark with knees here, heading into the final couple of bends around what will be Raskas, but it's stuffed his lap. He has got to come in the pits. That is his qualifying over. As we're now waiting this young Stinson who could not improve. Alan still out on a lap as well, looking to try and hammer home at the top end. Still struggling through this section. All shot down, coming through Raskas now. Heading into Anthony Noakes. What can this man do in the BMW? Can BMW dominate here late on in qualifying as he comes up across the line? P7, he tips the head of Alan there. A phenomenal lap of 110.313. What an exciting end here to Q3. Phenomenal scenes as BMW now not only on the front row but also P7 there with all shot down. It's been nothing short of impressive as Paulie Orange comes through. He's on a slow down lap. Matteo coming through to the stretch now. Can he tip the balance as Mad Scientist goes ahead of him? It won't be for long, will it? No, Matteo not able to improve. A 111 is where he will remain. And I gotta say, Blaze, he has done it. He has tipped it. Paulie Orange, who probably thought he was home and host. Blaze did the business. Only 2 drivers in the 108s, Iestyn.
Yeah, a brilliant lap from Blaze, who has put that BMW on pole, and I wasn't really expecting someone to beat Paulie Orange there from in the JCB. Obviously, JCB P2 and P3, as well as Mad Scientist down in P9. It wasn't the Nintendo domination we expected. Dinson down in P5. Alem got P6 at the end, and obviously Matteo was all the way down in P10. He was the only drivers in the 1 minute 11.
Yeah, very impressive indeed. Blaze picking up that P1, as you said, Iestyn. And that is where he'll start. We'll run through the classifications, folks. Blaze is going to be on pole for the race. Paulie Orange in P2. A phenomenal ending to qualifying. These lads gave it their all. Both of them only drivers in the 108s. Droftas in P3 with a 109.272 and Denge P4. Young Stinson wasn't able to get it done on the circuit and left wanting there in P5. Aylin there in P6. Chazza P7. All shot down in P8. Mad Scientist P9. Matteo rounding them off in Q3 into P10. But I gotta say, we were treated to some real heroics there from Blaze there, Iestyn. Just how incredible was that final lap from Blaze?
Well, it was brilliant to see. Obviously, I've said that I thought it was Paulie Orange for Paul. I thought Stinson would be in up there, but obviously he had a couple of mistakes of his own. And Blaze just came out of nowhere. He's obviously been somewhere up front, obviously every race like we saw last week in Vietnam, but that came from nowhere. That's a phenomenal lap.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And I got to say, he did himself credit. It certainly was the work that he put into place in Sector 3, I think, that did the difference. Obviously, that is where you make your money here in qualifying, certainly here in Formula 1. And it's just so tricky. The chicanes are so stiff. And not only that, you've got to make the most of your exits as well. Get straight back on the power and make your way down towards your next, whether it's your next corner, your next chicane, whatever it may be. At Monaco, there's so many differences, differences in every corner, despite it being a street circuit. And we tend to associate street circuits with having 90-degree bends or long straights before you reach a corner, hence the likes of Baku and even Singapore in some cases. Monaco offers something very, very different. You have a very various array of different kinds of bends, so it really requires you to be a very I suppose flexible driver, able to commit yourself into many different scenarios. And I have to say, strategy is so vital. We're just waiting for the drivers now to start the formation lap. Any tips from yourself, Iestyn, going into the race?
Just don't crash, don't run wide, don't go into the barriers. Obviously, easy said up in the comms box, but obviously it's harder as a driver to avoid these walls. Obviously, you can't really do many mistakes. You can't run wide because there'll be a wall there waiting into you. The wall's there to just have your name on it. And yeah, just make sure you just don't do anything silly. Don't go for that risky dive bomb on someone into the hairpin, for example. And yeah, hopefully we'll have a clean race.
Yeah, we have 39 laps in Monaco, and already we have I think a car that's made it into the wall there. And in fact, we've got a DNF there, a host migration. Paulie Orange is out of the session, so we might be in for a little bit of a tricky start to this Grand Prix, folks. Could be ending up with a restart of the lobby. And as we now see the drivers make their way down towards the Nouvelle chicane. Young Stinson and Aylin, they've got a big responsibility on their shoulders carrying the Nintendo team. Young Stinson maybe not getting the qualifying session that he would have wanted. Obviously the driver who has won the first 3 races in this Formula 4 season, claiming top points in Singapore, Silverstone and Mexico. Coming off the back of a DNF at Vietnam. He's got to try and get this one in as a confidence builder. But obviously not a lot of confidence being stuck down in P5 at Monaco, because it means that you've got a lot of work to do here, Iestyn.
Yeah, obviously if you're starting in the front row, you have the best opportunity of winning the race. Down in P5 obviously gets tricky. This is where Stinson is this evening. Obviously Paulie Orange should be, hopefully be rejoining, otherwise he's wasted a brilliant qualifying with no fault of his own. And he's rejoined. I don't know if he'll be able to get back after the 5 red lights. We're not too sure on that one, as we wait for the rest of the grid to form up. And they have.
Yep, the lights are about to go red, folks. And here we go for the Monaco Grand Prix for Formula 4. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the 5th light! And it's pedal to the metal, go, 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 go! Blaze gets away okay, Fanny gets a hell of a start there, in behind there as well. Paulie Orange trying to choke the gap there, as well as Droftas, who's down in P3, being swallowed up there potentially by Denge, who's joining the fray. He's tucked in behind that of Droftas, at least for the time being. Young Stinson as well, in the mix, looking to try and challenge. He's got a lot of work to do as our Young Stinson, but a phenomenal start, all very clean. I could not see any instance there, Iestyn, but a grandiose start there for Blaze. He's careering away with that P1 position as we start the Monaco Grand Prix.
Not much to say. There's a bit of kerfuffling going on behind the hairpin. There's a couple of drivers going in there a little bit too quickly, and Ramsell in the BMW and There's just been a bit of a tangle there, but nothing major. Everyone's kept it quite clean. Blaze, the brilliant start. Polly Orange back in the JCB car. He's in P2, and Joftas has held out against Andenge, and he's third with the Jag in P4.
Yeah, and he's not the only one. Blaze's teammate all shot down, trying to gun on the back of Chazza, of course. He lost a little bit of time heading into the tunnel, but he's still on his rear end now, pretty much in the gearbox there of the MTV Motorsport. Little shake there from Chazza. That'll open the door here for all shot down. Can he do it? Into the first corner here. Here comes the BMW side by side into turn one. Cannot get the job done. Great defending there from Chazza as they make their way up to Beau Rivage now, heading round what will be the Massenet Bend. Very soon it'll be Casino, and still Chazza able to hold on after that blazing attack there from all shot down. He did extremely well to try and coop that P7, but Chazza shut the door. Great show of racecraft there from the MTV Motorsport driver.
And obviously great work from all shot down in the BMW. Obviously you might think you might have to hang someone around the outside. Obviously it's Monaco, so you don't really want to be doing that, just in case there's a little bit of contact involved. But Blaze is miles in front. He's doing a Sebastian Vettel-esque with his starting on pole and just saying ta-ra to the rest of the field. He's 2.3 seconds in front of Paulie Orange at the end of lap 2, which is impressive. The first of the penalties come in with Doftas picking a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting.
Yeah, we got an intriguing battle as well further down the grid. Matteo trying to snipe on LPE, who ran extremely wide at the Nouvelle chicane and is really starting to tap his brakes slightly here. And Matteo is having to do his best to try and dictate the pace here. Infamous Pillars also coming under increasing pressure. Remember, he DNF'd at the in qualifying earlier on. Paulie Orange has again left the session, struggling to stay in the lobby. I'm not sure what the issue is there as they make their way up Beau Rivage now. Matteo still in P10, being gunned down upon by Infamous Pillars for Team MTV Motorsport as they round the next right-hander. LPE once again suffering from that oversteer, heading now around the Mirabeau corner, and Matteo is all over him like a nasty rash right now. Surely LPE as they round the Grand Hotel hairpin. He looks in treacherous danger here, Iestyn.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that a Nintendo car of young Stinson's gone into the pit, so the luck from Vietnam last time out has obviously halted him badly here as well this week, as he's had a change of front wing and a new set of medium tyres onto that Nintendo car. Back up in front, there's not much going on. See if obviously Joftas will get in front of the Ghost car now that is Paulie Orange. He should be able to do that down the back straight, and he does, and hopefully Andenge will follow suit for the Jag. Meanwhile, Sloth and Matteo are going at it, with Sloth going up to P11 and Matteo in fact going into the pit, so that's the second Nintendo car going into the pits in these opening couple of laps, and that looks like to be either a change of tyre. No, it is a change of front wing as well, which would be a big blow. We haven't talked about Infamous Pillars as Paul is in the wall at turn 1, which won't help any of his confidence. He's lost his front wing, and we haven't spoken much about Infamous Pillars. Obviously he was out at Q2 with a crash at the casino. He's up to P10 with LPE in front of him in the Jaguar going through the hairpin. Obviously we didn't speak about him much. He's on a set of medium tyres that he started on with the option of the fresh set, and LPE obviously started with the softs even though he was out in Q2. See if Pillars can get the move done.
Yeah, well, Pillars, like you say, on medium tyres, on the advanced strategy, if you think about it. I mean, Pillars in a pit stop alone could really stride ahead of the cars that are ahead of him. Obviously, he's got a string of soft tyres leading right up to P4, and that is Alan, who has had a phenomenal start there for Nintendo and has managed to make his way further up the classifications. LPE there with a very late, or a very early break, should I say, and Pillars, who has been cruising all over his rear end now as they make their way out to the Anthony Nogues now, and Infamous Pillars, if he can make use of the slipstream, heading in to Saint Devot. Can he get it done? No, the MTV car holds back, but he'll have his chance at Beau Rivage. As they do so, you can see the green livery of the Jaguar being gunned down upon by the MTV Motorsport here. Music videos can be made of this as we're now seeing Pillars crawling all over the back end of that Jaguar. They've got Mirabeau dead ahead after the Casino Bend, but still the Jaguar holds up, and LPA surely knows that his days could be numbered here, Iestyn.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for the Jag. You could clearly see him, he's right up his gearbox going through the middle sector. Meanwhile, Paul the Orange has returned for technically a third time in this session. See if he can get back in his car. He's down in P5, and here's an opportunity for Pillars down the inside of the chicane. Will he get it? Make it stick? Yes, he will, and up into P9 for the MTV car. And Denge has picked up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting warnings, but that will be a move that Pillars really wanted to get.
Yeah, and LPE running extremely wide around Tabach, allowing I Am Sloth to even come to the fray as well. So he's trying to gun down. So MTV trying to make moves here. They've got 2 drivers in the top 10. Chazza in P6. Currently 1.6 seconds behind that as All Shot Down makes a move on said man now. Chazza left at the mercy of the BMW car that is All Shot Down. He moves up to P6. A very impressive showing here from this man. He was very good in qualifying, Iestyn, and certainly currently, albeit in pot 3, he is showing some real sincere pace here at Monaco.
Yeah, it was a very nice move down the inside into Sandavot. There is turn 1, and it was a very nice move from the BMW when he's up to P6 with a there's a Ghost car there, but I think that is Ramsell, who's obviously a lap down compared to the rest of us. And obviously, Paulie Orange is back in his car, which is good to see. But obviously, he wouldn't be happy that he's down all the way in P5.
No, not at all. And obviously, no fault of his own. Technical problems obviously being experienced by that man, Paulie Orange, in the JCB car. Is now up to Droftas to try and tackle the top end. But Droftas has got a penalty, and Blaze has careered away with this now. He's 5.5 seconds clear of Droftas, not to mention the actual penalty that's been applied to that of the Newportonian. And Denge now in P3 for the Jaguar team. That'll be music to their ears. He's got a penalty as well as LPE makes his way up into P9 as I Am Sloth and the Jaguar seem to be battling here. We've got yet another encounter this time, once again involving LPE here, Iestyn.
Yeah, and it's another MTV car. This time it is Sloth who was out in Q1 actually, so he's done well to get himself into the points of these early stages. Obviously with LPE, he looks like to be struggling a bit. He's lost the position to Pillars. Now he's got the other MPT car of Sloth behind him, and obviously he's going to be quite close.
He will, as they round the Grand Hotel hairpin, heading round the next right-hander. Very soon they'll be tackling Portier. As you can see him from his pillars just in the camera shot there, chasing his teammate Chazza. The MTV team really trying to pull off a mass comeback here, and they're looking really good to doing that right now. Chazza currently in P7, of course. The higher of the qualifying MTV cars. Infamous now making a move, and indeed the correct movements being made by that of Pillars and Chazza, working together as good teams should. And Pillars now can just focus on what's ahead of him, and that is closing the gap on All Shot Down, who is on soft tyres. And you've got to think, Iestyn, those 6-lap-old mediums will start to come into effect now against those softs.
Yeah, they will come in as the softs start to wear out. So this is a brilliant opportunity for Pillars to get himself caught up and behind him, maybe even in front of All Shot Down in the BMW. When you're up in front, the gap is still around about 5 seconds. So Blaze has lost a little bit of time, but obviously he's cruising up in front. The 5-second lead, that's exactly what you want and need in the opening few laps of this track.
Yeah, young Stinson currently down in P16 at this moment in time. You can just see his ghost there in between Paulie Orange and Aylin right now. Of course, Aylin, his teammate, who's currently one of the highest places in the Nintendo team. The only driver, though, for Nintendo in the top 10, with Chewy, of course, down in P11. The other driver, Matteo, had to go into the hards, obviously, after an incident earlier on. We are in lap 8 of 39 here, folks. And Paulie Orange, who is currently in P5, still trying to gun down upon Aylin, who is a very capable driver, a very consistent driver, so certainly not an easy task to handle on his day. Looking further down, I Am Sloth now riding on the back end of LPE as they come around Tabach very soon. They're reaching the certainly the Virage chicanes here, heading down towards what will be Rascasse. And LPE, he's under real pressure here because the MTV team seem to be eating these Jaguars for breakfast, and LPE peels off into the pits. Those tyres are obviously feeling like ice skates right now. The medium tyre cars starting to move their way up the classifications, Iestyn.
Yeah, and the majority of them are MTV cars, as we've seen Pillars and Sloth obviously get positions, and obviously I think Chazza in the other MTV car will just kindly just let Sloth by. I don't think he wants to have affect any of those two races. So he'll just do what he did to Pillars a couple of laps ago and just let Sloth go by and overtake him. Meanwhile, Paulie Orange is catching up to Elam. So there's an opportunity here for Paulie Orange. Obviously lagged out, started on the front row of the grid. A bit of a loss of the back end there, the exit of the chicane. But there's opportunity now to get back into the top 4.
Yeah, it is, and Alan is getting closer and closer to the front end of that JCB car, and it can only be a matter of time before Paulie Orange brings the hammer down on this affair. And as we now see Alan now coming out of the Anthony Noakes chicane with the JCB car of Paulie Orange in hot pursuit as they head down towards, oh, that was very close there, an exit there out of the pit lane from Mad Scientist, I believe that was. They come up Bro Ravage now, and Paulie Orange is now swarming all over the back end of Alan there, the Nintendo car in jeopardy, but Paulie Orange is going to give him maximum respect here as they round Massenet into the casino corner, down the casino stretch. A little shake there in the chassis of that JCB car as they now round Mirabeau, heading down towards the Grand Hotel. Alan in P4 knows that he's at the mercy here of this JCB car, and certainly Paulie Orange behind the wheel is going to do everything he can to make this move happen here as they round Portier, heading round towards the tunnel section. And of course this is where things can easily change, as you can now see both cars coming on the outset now towards the Nouvelle chicane. Alan managing to draw out approximately 7/10 of a second, and now the gap between these two on the outset of that very same chicane now towards Tabach. Still the Nintendo car with a reasonable advantage so far. Paulie Orange seems to be struggling in the corners, maybe better on the straights. It's certainly a mystery to me, but Monaco truly testing Iestyn.
Yeah, I think Orange tapped the wall a bit there at Tabach, I believe, and that obviously lost him a lot of time, and he's just inside the DRS window wherever the detection point was. Meanwhile, out in front, Blaze has lost a lot of time, so I don't know if there's been a little mistake there from the BMW. The gap's now down to 1.5 seconds. Obviously, the JCB car of Droftas has got a penalty, but yeah, the gap has gone down severely up in front.
Yeah, and Pillars very nearly careering into the back of All Shot Down. He left it so late going into Sandavot there. It could have really been curtains there for the MTV team. They've worked so hard to get up into these positions already, and Pillars now down 1.5 seconds to All Shot Down, but still he careers back. He's already made 2/10 back alone in the Mirabeau corner, so he carries bundles of pace against that of All Shot Down, but Pillars does have a penalty, so that is not going to help. Obviously towards the end of this Grand Prix, a second now, the difference between that of the MTV car and that of the BMW, and you can imagine now that All Shot Down's tyres are probably feeling a little grim. 10 laps accrued on the soft compound indeed. They must be blistering horrendously as we have a safety car here, and as some of the drivers predicted, Iestyn, the safety car is out here at Monaco.
Yeah, Mad Scientist was the culprit that brought out the safety car just in time as Blaze pitted as the safety car came out. Obviously, a couple of other drivers, 4M, Paulie Orange and Elam. Paulie Orange, the front wing change in that JCB. As he will, in fact, it's just lose a little bit of time to the car in front, but he'll bunch up behind the safety car.
And also Alan as well, who's just pitted onto the hards. He can go to the end on that compound. And so Alan in with a great chance of securing some impressive points here for Nintendo and increasing their gap on the top of the championship. Albeit though Droftas still on top spot and Denge in P2. They felt no need to pit, albeit they passed the pit lane, so it was a little late for them to be able to make a tyre change. Blaze though, however, on fresh medium tyres and a couple of laps around the safety car, that will aid them certainly, as I Am Sloth is exiting the pit lane on fresh hards, as well as in the background you can see there the other BMW car, that of course being, I think that is in fact, is that the other BMW car? Is that All Shot Down just coming out on fresh mediums?
No, All Shot Down is going into the hairpin.
Interesting. Not sure who came out with him there then. That was interesting. It looked like a blue car was following him out there.
Well, Ramsel's come out in a fresh set of hards behind Sloth. So I'm not too sure, but things have gone bad to worse for young Stinson, who's picked up a drive-through penalty, which will just make his day a little bit even more better. Now he's stuck behind the safety cars. The leaders have pitted, so Blaze will retake the lead. Yeah,
Blaze in front, and he's obviously just pitted as well, so he's in with a great chance here. The safety car still out in force. Droftas pitting onto fresh hard tyres, going the distance, obviously similar to Andenge. And Andenge, in that strategy alone, moving his way up into P2. And obviously this is a huge coupe here, certainly for Andenge, in terms of Jaguars. prospects here in this race. In behind, you can see Droftas just swinging up in behind that of Van Denge. And Jaguar, they really need the points. They're currently in 5th place in the Constructors. That is last, aside from the reserve team. 116 points for Jaguar. And there's a small gap then of around 9 points to that of MTV Motorsports, who are in P4 in the championship. But Nintendo, due to the courage and the dexterity of their team alone, they have managed to accrue points for their team and currently sit on top with 211 points, a gap separating them of between 30 and 40 points. They're doing so well at the moment this season, and you can only imagine that they must be on hand to do even more business. In fact, the difference is 45 points between P1 and P2, and that is absolutely massive. So Nintendo, if they can scratch together even more results here today, if Alan can pull something out of the bag here, he's currently in P4, it could certainly help them in terms of the team championship.
Obviously, if Stinson and Matteo could gain a couple of positions, that wouldn't make them. That would help them. But, yeah.
Certainly, as we now see them round what will be the Anthony Noakes chicane, heading out on the outset towards lap 14 of 39, behind the safety car, of course. And Blaze still remains on those 2-lap-old mediums. Not much grip lost on those tyres, I can assure you. Of course, the safety car going around the first couple of laps, there would be minimal wear on that compound. So Blaze very much so has the opportunity. He's got 3 hard tyre compounds behind him, and then a gap then towards Paulie Orange, who's got fresh mediums as well as all shot down. Chewy has got it all to do. He's got 13-lap-old mediums still yet to pit. And just look at what he's got behind him. He's got Infamous Pillars there on fresh hards. The gap currently 0.7 of a second. And I can imagine they're eyeing him up for a tasty manoeuvre here, Iestyn. I can't imagine Chewy being there for much longer.
Yeah, I think he'd want to get past that BMW quite quickly. And obviously he'd be looking to get himself into the top 5 maybe. If he can get past all shot down, he can really have a push that's poorly orange. But obviously back out in front, this is a really good opportunity for Blaze. I wonder if he can take those mediums to the end of the Grand Prix, which would be interesting.
Well, I certainly think that must be on the cards. He's going to make the most of this safety car and preserve the grip on those tyres. Doesn't want to blister them too much. Wants to try and conserve them as much as he can in order to get the most out of them. You've got to think that maybe, because Droftas has got infinite experience at Monaco. He's won it several times. He knows how to drive the track. I certainly think that hard tyres are the answer here. But Blaze has other things on his mind. Whether he's looking to bring the delta times out and create a gap long enough to perhaps make another stop and put the soft tyres on, that could be another advantage as well. But we'll have to see. That P1 spot is oh so important coming into the end of the race. You need to try and keep your car there as best you can. But I've got to think that when the hammer comes down and the safety car comes in, Blaze is really going to have to go for it at the restart, Iestyn.
Yeah, obviously you might consider the fact that the 2 cars behind him have both got penalties, so that will 100% come into it near the end of this Grand Prix. But it'll be very interesting to see what it does. Does he just stay in front and nurse the tyre into the end of the Grand Prix, or does he go flat out and try and build a really big gap so you can come into the pits, change the tyres onto a new set of softs, and come out in front, is still in the lead?
Well, I suppose the big talking point is seeing where Chewy, or how far Chewy goes on his 14-lap-old mediums, because he is still out there, yet to pit. Currently within a second, obviously, of all shot down. But obviously, there's going to come a time where Chewy's tyres are going to run out of grip, and he will be forced to make a change. You would have thought that doing it under the safety car would have been the clever thing to do. He is now stuck in no man's land and at the mercy of Infamous Pillars, who of course has got fresh hard tyres on, and those hards will go considerably to the end. And Pillars not short of pace. We've seen him dispatch drivers in the past in very, very effective fashion. And certainly the MTV team looking ever prominent. They got all 4 drivers there in the firing line. And all of them potentially could end up in the serious point section of this race. Certainly Paulie Orange ahead of them now. All shot down. Chewy as well. All on mediums. They've got to really try and push. And one has to suspect that maybe they might have made the wrong tactical call here.
So obviously the safety car's coming in, so Blaze is now our safety car for a couple of seconds. So Sloth has picked up a 5-second time penalty for collision under the safety car, which won't help his race. As Blaze still bunching up the field. He's taking a long time for this. And away he goes to restart this Monaco Grand Prix. We start lap 16 out of 39. And Blaze looks like to have a positive start here.
Yeah, he certainly does. Half a second ahead of Andenge, the Swedish driver, as they make their way up Beau Rivage now, around the next left-hander into what will be Massenet, and around the Casino bend. You can see now Andenge stuck in behind him. Paulie Orange looking to make a move here, potentially on what looks to be Eistyn in P4. The delta time minimal, as Infamous Pillars as well stuck behind Chewy still. Remember, we spoke about the tyre compounds. Of course, Chewy struggling on 15-lap old mediums. How long before those tyres give way? As we're now seeing Pillars in P8 on fresher hards. Those hards are going to be considerably better. He's had a chance to warm them up under the safety car. Can he make the move in the tunnel here? And surely Chewy's going to be a sitting duck as they make their way down towards the Nouvelle Chicane. The MTV Motorsport car now rides in on the inside. A clean manoeuvre, a swift manoeuvre, gets it done indeed, and leaves Chewy for dead. LPE can now challenge as we now see Pillars cruising into P7 there, Iestyn.
Well, a brilliant move, you should be saying, for that from Infamous Pillars. Lovely move down the inside. Chewy did lock up, which gave him that little gap, and he went for it. Surely it's going to be time.
And Paulie Orange on the outside there of Eistyn coming in too, into Sandervolt. Eistyn in danger as they come round the corner of turn 1, and indeed he gets it done. Swift manoeuvre. Here comes all shot down, looking for a piece of the pie for BMW, but Eistyn still holds on to P5, but Paulie Orange on a mission here, looking to capitalise on those medium tyres and the pace of that compound. Now chasing Droftas, 2.2 seconds to find. That was a heroic move going around Sandervolt. Very often you see those turn up the wrong way, but sorry to interrupt you earlier, Iestyn, but that was a sensational move there by Paulie Orange.
I was only going to say that Chewy was doing the pits quite soon, but that's brilliant from Paulie Orange. I wasn't expecting to see anyone go around the outside of turn 1, and we've just seen it. Meanwhile, Andenge is holding up Droftas a little bit as Eistyn picks up a 3-second time penalty. See what happens here for the battle for P2. And Blaze is pulling ahead on those mediums. He's 5 seconds in front. Apparently we started lap 16 of the safety car. We start lap 18, and he's got an over 5-second lead, which is excellent for the BMW driver.
Yeah, and Andenge is in jeopardy as well, because the Newportonian Droftas looking to close the gap, and Andenge technically, I suppose in a matter of speaking, holding up Droftas here. Of course, the gap, like you suggested there, Iestyn, has creeped up to 5.5 seconds, so Andenge considerably behind P1, and they've got a penalty to boot as Droftas nudges the wall heading around Casino. That will not help. Hopefully the front wing's okay, but Paulie Orange is in P4 and crawling all over the back of the Newportonian now. And of course, Paulie Orange, after that swift manoeuvre against Eistyn, has already careered up a massive 2.5 second advantage in the space of half a lap. That is absolutely incredible. And now Paulie Orange will be looking to do the same now on his teammate. Maybe Droftas will let his teammate go by here and let him challenge that of Andenge. Certainly given the fact that Orange is on medium tyres, that would be a very sensible decision to make as they come through the Nouvelle Chicane. And you can see there Andenge in front there. Surely Droftas should have the opportunity himself to make the move, and surely it's in his interest of his teammate to make the move as soon as possible as well. So do not be surprised if Droftas tries to apply the pressure on that of the Jaguar car as they now enter Rascasse after this Virage chicanes. And as you can see, the Jaguar car haplessly in P2, really scuppering here under the pressure as they indeed a little look there from Droftas on the inside, coming out of there as well. Blaze, I think, has had an incident because Andenge is all over him here. I'm not sure quite what happened, but that delta time has come right down. Did Blaze enter the wall there, Iestyn?
A safety car's been deployed. Sorry to ruin your fun, but that's why the gap has been closing down to literally nothing. The safety car came out in the middle of that lap. I didn't want to say anything because you were in the middle of saying something, but the safety car came out and is going to bunch up the rest of the field again.
It's a wonder as to why that safety car came out. I cannot see a DNF as such on the classification grid.
No, no one retired, and then I think there must have been some sort of collision which I haven't seen. But the next thing I knew, the safety car came out. I was like, oh, let's just be quiet for a couple of moments.
Yeah, well, Mad Scientist is the only DNF in this Grand Prix, and I've got to say this is very frustrating for Blaze because, of course, he brought that advantage out. It was around 5.5 seconds, albeit the penalties are to be applied. Of course, Andenge and Droftas, they'll be well happy that this safety car has come out because they can keep the hard tyres warm, they can go on for longer, and will certainly benefit them in the long run. Blaze currently in P1 and is owning that spot, at least for the time being. Andenge in P2, Droftas P3, Paulie Orange in P4, and Aylin in P5. So certainly the top guys in the championship leading the way in this race for now. Pillars also looking to make waves as well. That has been an ideal safety car for him because it's allowed him to get closer to all shot down, so he can make the most of those hard tyres once again, Kid Infamous Pillars. And this safety car plays into the hands certainly for those on the hard tyres there, Iestyn.
Yeah, well, obviously a positive for the medium drivers that they won't be putting much damage on those tyres, so the likes of Blaze, who can just maybe keep his tyre wear to a minimum, and maybe once the safety car restarts he'll be able to pull away again like we saw a couple of laps ago. But hard drivers on hards, obviously their tyres might be cooling down a little bit, so obviously the restart they might be a little bit slow off the box. This is a brilliant opportunity for Paulie Orange to get himself in front of one or maybe both of these two cars in front.
Oh, just look at MTV Motorsport as well, up to P7, 8 and 9. They've got a string of them there. And Xerxes there in P11 for MTV Motorsport as well. In P11 and only 1.2 seconds behind Matteo. So every chance here for the MTV Motorsport team to get all 4 drivers into the top 10. Just what a feat that would be in terms of points for this championship fight. Of course, at this moment in time, they're separated by nearly enough 27 points. Away in the championship between them and BMW. So a great chance here for MTV to creep higher in the classifications and make their way into P3 of the constructors standings. Of course, JCB on for a good run as well. BMW have got a driver in P1 as well as one in P6 as well. And bear in mind, all shot down, no penalty at this moment in time. So maybe at the end of this race, given the fact that he's got 3 cars ahead of him, all on penalties, that being Aylin, Andenge and Droftas, maybe even all shot down can carry through the grid and get even more points for BMW. I just don't know.
Yeah, you never know, but there's still a long time left in this Grand Prix. Anything can happen between now and the end of lap 39. So I'm not going to predict anything as of yet, but I might later on near the Grand Prix.
Well, we could well see a little bit of an upturn in the fortunes of a few here in this Monaco Grand Prix. The safety car still remains out here in lap 21 of 39. And the way things are sitting right now, 18 laps remain in this Monaco Grand Prix. Blaze still leading them round here at this moment, following the safety car. And Denge in P2 for the Jaguar team, doing so well and is still, in some realms, with an advantage. He's got the hard tyres on, and they will go that little bit longer than Blaze's mediums. But of course, Blaze, like you said earlier, Iestyn, benefiting from the safety car coming out, preserving that medium compound. But they're going to need every little bit of it. Probably Blaze, being the only driver on the mediums, may be benefiting from this safety car.
Yeah, obviously the other drivers, unless you're in the lead, would want to overtake the car in front, like Paulie Orange would. Obviously, he was very close to the 2 drivers in front of him. And obviously he would like to get an overtake done, but then the safety car came out, which kind of ruined that opportunity. He might not get the opportunity to restart to get that move done. He might lose a little bit of time, might have a mistake. Obviously, he could play into his hands, and maybe the top 3 might all have a mistake, and he'll be in the lead. Anything can happen in this safety car restart.
Absolutely. Well, they're weaving in and out, obviously, just to warm up those tyres. You need all the grip levels possible here at Monaco. The corners are very treacherous. You can see there the safety car being followed by Blaze in the BMW car, as well as Andenge in the Jaguar. In behind Droftas and Paulie Orange in the JCB cars, as well as they now round the final couple of bends indeed. This being Raskas and the Anthony Nogues corners. And there's Blaze being followed by Andenge, closely followed by Droftas as well. Such a huge race is Monaco. The safety car is now pulling away as Blaze hits the hammer and indeed powers down towards Sandoval. Green flags are up and Blaze has already careered through an advantage. Paulie Orange trying to ride on the coattails of Droftas as well. His teammate further back, Infamous Pillars, all over the rear end of all shot down once again. And this will play into the hands of the MTV Motorsport crew. He has got Chazza and I Am Sloth right behind him. Stinson making moves as well. This is literally the perfect time for him because he can make most of this restart here. And you can imagine that he'd be wanting to try and dispatch LPE as quickly as possible, but the story here is the fact that Pillars now in with a chance. MTV could well be moving their way right through this grid.
Yeah, indeed. They're all on hards and they all got a really good opportunity. Blaze, the different safety car restart compared to his first time in the lead. He went a little bit after the exit of the last corner. This time, as he soon exited the corner, he went for it, and he's had a really good safety car restart with a lead of 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, well, movements to be made in the JCB team as well, as Droftas has allowed Paulie Orange through into third place to allow him to challenge that of Van Denge. And a very smart move, of course. Paulie Orange on 10-lap-old medium tyres, albeit you could probably consider them 6-lap-old medium tyres, as we've had quite a few laps under the safety car as they now make their way down towards Sandoval. Paulie Orange trying to close the gap there on Andenge. Further back, you've got a battle going on between Allshot Down and Aylin. That gap has closed up quite considerably, as well as Pillars, who is joining the fight too, about half a second in behind that of Allshot Down. 3/10 so is the gap between Aylin and Allshot Down, and Allshot with those mediums needs to make the most of them now. He needs to try and pick up the pace as they make their way down towards the next right-hander, that of course being Mirabeau, heading down towards the Grand Hotel hairpin and getting closer and closer to the back of that Nintendo car. But all this is allowing Infamous Pillars in for a fight of his own, and he's pulling through Chazza and I Am Sloth as well. Just look at the contingent of pink coming around Portier now into the tunnel, and Aylin could be in trouble here as Allshot Down. He can ride the coattails or the slipstream of that Nintendo car coming down to the Nouvelle Chicane. No chance yet, but as he makes his way around, it certainly seems to be an appetizing prospect here for the MTB team.
Yeah, well, they are not doing much as it stands. Maybe they're waiting for the perfect opportunity to get their positions done. Pillars had a little moment there at the exit of that chicane. Meanwhile, up in front, the Blaze has just pulled ahead massively. DRS is enabled.
Here we go.
Cross the line.
Paulie Orange now.
Lap 24.
Paulie Orange looking for a move on Andenge. They're coming round certainly the Sandoval corner now up towards Beau Rivage. Andenge now in all kinds of jeopardy. And indeed a space has opened up there for Paulie Orange, but he cannot make the most of it as they round Massenet into the casino corner. Down the casino stretch, Mirabeau beckons and Andenge shut the door there. A great bit of defending there from the Swede. Does not allow Paulie Orange through as they round the Grand Hotel. Paulie Orange looking relentless on those medium tyres.
Yeah, this is a perfect opportunity for the JCB car to have a really good opportunity, even winning this Grand Prix. Obviously, he needs to get in front of the Jag of Andenge quite quickly. He might have an opportunity going round the outside for the chicane. Is he going to... Oh, he's locked up. That's very unfortunate. And, well, Andenge lives to fight another day in P2. And very unlucky for Paulie Orange and the JCB.
Yeah, and also in behind, Droftas had to watch all that happen. Luckily enough, it didn't affect his momentum too much, as we're now seeing Infamous Pillars gunning down on Allshot Down. The race is starting to light up here at Monaco, as we're now seeing Allshot Down round in the Rascas now, up through the Anthony Noakes section. Aylin getting closer and closer to the front of Allshot still, as we now see Pillars coming out onto the main straight. Soon they'll cross the line to commence their lap 25 of 39. Can he get close to the back of Allshot? This BMW car has been sitting in front of him now quite considerably. Was that an M plate flying off the front of Allshot Down there? Top of the wall is young Stinson moves up into P9 ahead of I Am Sloth. So that's an MTV car dispatched as Matteo is also crawling all over the back end now. The Nintendo team on the rise, trying to capitalise back after a very disappointing start here, Iestyn. And very, very likely we could see a rise here. All of them currently on medium tyres.
Yeah, I Am Sloth was the one that's not followed Team Protocol and has lost position to Stinson. Meanwhile, I've sworn I have seen a Paulie Orange end plate fly off at the exit of turn 1, which would be very unfortunate if it was true. Blaze lead is now over 7 seconds. This shows that when these guys are scrapping around, Blaze is just putting his head down and continuing in his lead.
He certainly is, and he's doing extremely well. 97.3 seconds is the gap right now between Blaze and Andenge, but Paulie Orange is the story right now. He has indeed lost an end plate, that being the front right wing end plate there, and of course it might be wise now to let Droftas back through. Even though Paulie Orange does not have a penalty to his name, he will lose a lot of pace, but he's doing so well to keep it out of the walls here. Without the end plates here at Monaco, you are a sitting duck in many cases, but Andenge is still in front of him, but he has a penalty, so if things stay the way they are right now, Paulie Orange will be in P2 at the end of the Grand Prix. A little shake there of the wheel as he makes his way down through Mirabeau, now down towards the Grand Hotel hairpin, and Andenge still owning that P2 spot for now. But the gap now we need to talk about is the 2/10 gap now between I Am Sloth and Matteo as they head down towards Mirabeau. And still the Nintendo car left frustrated. LPE joining the fray as well for Jaguar. We got a three-way tussle there for the P10 spot.
It doesn't look good for Sloth. I don't think he's enjoying this race. There's been a switch for P3. Paulie Orange has let by his teammate and see if Droftas can get close and over in front of Andenge.
Yeah, very smart move there by JCB, certainly given the damage that was sustained to Paulie Orange's front wing, and that will allow Droftas through now to challenge, and already he's pulling back the gap. 1.2 seconds still the gap though, however, he's got a lot of work to do, not within DRS mode yet, as they make their way down the straight. LPE now with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Further back, you can see the battle still raging on between Pillars and All Shot Down. A move potentially to be made here, going up Beau Rivage. He is right in the tail fin here. All Shot Down looking for a move here on Aylin potentially, but we got a three-way tie here as they make their way around the next corner, being Massenet, and All Shot is in real jeopardy here. One mistake could cost him this race, as we now see Pillars bombing down towards Mirabeau. He cannot find any space just yet. And all this is frustrating All Shot Down because he's on medium tyres. Aylin's keeping him behind. And with him being on hard tyres, Aylin's thinking, you carry on, mate. Keep picking up the pace. All you're doing is ruining your tyre wear.
Yeah, so there's a couple of drivers from each team not having the greatest of races. You've got Sloth, who's not particularly found any pace in the MTV. Aylin is the example of the Nintendo team. He's a bit of a trolley train starting to form here. And that goes all the way down to young Stinson down in P9. He could easily pick up a few positions yet because of his Nintendo teammate holding up a couple of these MTV cars.
Yeah, Young Stinson coming back into the fray. He's currently 0.4 of a second away. No penalties on Young Stinson, so he could benefit heavily from these penalties now. Chazza at the mercy here of the Nintendo car as Young Stinson looks for a manoeuvre down towards Sandavant. Leaves it late, comes around the inside. Oh my word, that was the tightest of gaps, but gets it done. Young Stinson, a class act there indeed from that man from Holland. He gets it done as he runs around now through Massenet, out through the casino stretch, down towards Mirabeau. Very classy indeed, and that is why he's a 3 times race winner here this season.
I just want to cheer for that move. That was excellent. Very much on the brave side, round the outside there, of showing great respect to the two drivers, give each other enough room to just go through there side by side. That will be a massive confidence booster for Aylin. He's got one less car to worry about, as in fact Stinson's going in front of him.
Yeah, he has. Young Stinson has done the business on Chazza. All Shot Down now, trying to ride on the coattails still of Aylin. Remember, this battle is allowing Young Stinson to cruise back into the race. He's now only 7/10 behind Infamous Pillars, and Pillars must be looking in his mirrors, seeing this Nintendo car rising through the grid order and thinking, oh no, not this man again. He has taken 3 wins this season. He knows what he's all about. Young Stinson very close to the rear end of Infamous Pillars, and indeed as they come up towards Sandavant, All Shot Down knows what's coming as they round the next right-hander. Those medium tyres falling off now on that BMW. Infamous Pillars is going to benefit, certainly being on the harder tyre. In behind Matteo, overtaking that of LPE as well as Chewy. LPE in the pits, I can only imagine that's due to damage, as we're now seeing further up the classifications. Paulie Orange once again riding up the rear on Droftas, but as we can see, that is not the story. The story is here, Aylin backing up this grid order and is allowing Young Stinson back into this race there, Iestyn.
Some brilliant tactics going on between the different teams. Obviously, is Aylin doing this just to help his teammate, or is this just the way that this Grand Prix unfolded for the likes of All Shot Down and Pillars?
Well,
it's going to be very interesting last few laps.
It's a very sensible decision given the fact that Young Stinson is, of course, their golden jewel in terms of race wins. And if Aylin could get him into the race here, it could really easily upset the balance for All Shot Down and Infamous Pillars, because, of course, Aylin's done extremely well to hold off this contingent of cars that are stuck in behind him here. Not only that, it's allowing Aylin to conserve his tyres as well. Remember, he has not been pushing on these hards. He'll have a lot more grip at the end of this race, allowing him to maintain this P5 position. He will let Stinson pass on his medium tyres, and Nintendo can really cruise up here to improving their lead on the championship. Very intelligent driving from Aylin.
Yeah, meanwhile, out in front, there's a bit of a stalemate going on with Andenge just parking the car at every possible opportunity as Droftas loses the back end slightly there, the exit of the hairpin. Meanwhile, Blaze is 14 seconds out in front. A phenomenal drive from the BMW on those mediums. He's just got to keep out the barriers for the last remaining laps, and it's surely going to be a race win.
Yeah, and young Stinson now crawling over the back of Pillars. Pillars going defensive onto the Nouvelle chicane. You can just see the MTV car under pressure. He got a good exit there, Stinson. He's getting ever closer to the back of that pink car as they round the next left-hander in through the Virage Louis Chiron now into what will be the second chicane heading up towards Rascasse. And certainly young Stinson in the Nintendo. Oh, my word, a tap there on the back of Infamous Pillars. And how costly could that be? And rightfully backs off there to allow Infamous Pillars to carry on through. No damage sustained as far as I can see there, Iestyn, but certainly familiar scenes at Monaco, given the fact that the track is so tight. Both Stinson and Pillars very nearly ending up in obscurity.
Yeah, a tiny bit of contact that could have easily resulted in a spin and a lot of damage for both drivers, but somehow they avoid the incident and they both carry on. Obviously losing a little bit of time to the BMW have all shot down in front, but that should be caught up by the way Elam's going this evening. He's kind of closed the gap to Andenge, who's lost two positions here. So Andenge has lost out somewhere, either with a bit of wing damage or he's just done a mistake somewhere.
Well, it's worked out perfectly here for the JCB team. Both of them now into P2 and 3. But the reigning question is, Paulie Orange, 19 laps on those medium tyres. How long before he decides to maybe pit onto the softs? He's only got 7 laps until the end of the race. Does he jump in the pit box and pit, or does he stay out? That's the big, bold question. How much grip or how much rubber does he have left on those tyres? Or is he going to be seeing a puncture? Blaze also trying to go the distance. 20 laps unleashed on his mediums too. But he's managed to amass a 15.6 second advantage. And Denge, I think earlier on in the race, was helping Blaze out quite considerably there. And Denge probably didn't know it.
Yeah, I don't think Denge would be happy with himself for that. He's lost a lot of time. And a really good opportunity for the JCB cars. And yeah, that should be.
Oh my word! Oh my word! What a move! What a move there! Pillars getting it. I think it was Pillars getting it. Well, nearly getting totaled there by young Stinson, having a little creep down the inside, heading into what looked to be into Mirabeau. It was a very dynamic move, a bold manoeuvre indeed from young Stinson, trying to crawl it round the middle. He didn't get it done. It was very touch and go, a very dangerous place to make a move, certainly. Rarely do we see overtakes done at Mirabeau, but nevertheless, he went for it. Didn't get it done. Pillars managed to keep the track position, but I got to say, that could have really ended up in tears for either driver. A win could have very easily been lost. I got to say, Iestyn, ever so close here at Monaco. Accidents are never far around the corner.
A couple of times we've seen some close calls this evening. And we're thankful that they haven't ended in any sort of incident. And both drivers could consider themselves lucky this evening.
Yeah, they certainly can. It's certainly a very dangerous sport. It's Formula 1. And the crashes are still many in esports, as they can be in real life. As we're now seeing all shot down chasing Aylin. The gap being 4/10 of a second. In behind now, you've got Pillars, who are riding on board with half a second after that scary moment there with young Stinson, who is still crawling all over the back end of that MTV Motorsport car. And this battle has been raging on now for the last, I'd say at least the last 5 to 10 laps. It's been absolutely unbelievable as they make their way around Portier, heading into the tunnel. Young Stinson's still got it all to do here. All shot down, riding on the back of Aylin. 4/10 of a second, the gap between them two as they make their way down towards the Nouvelle chicane. A late break from all shot down, trying to make the most of the tyres where he can. But 21 laps on those mediums, surely he must be feeling a sting right now, Iestyn.
Yeah, those tyres must be starting to wear. Meanwhile, out in front, it doesn't look like they're going to wear for Blaze, who's got a 15-second lead. 22 laps on those mediums, which makes it even more impressive. And, well, he looks comfortable to take a win at the streets of Monte Carlo.
He does. He's in very much a prime spot. Obviously, the penalty that Droftas has accrued is going to, well, pretty much relegate him or leave him in P2. If anything, he'll drop him down to P3. Obviously, with Paulie Orange not sustaining a penalty, the best thing Paulie Orange can do right now is remain where he is and maybe just, you know, let loose on the power a little bit, I think, and just keep in behind Droftas. at least maybe Drofthouse will probably give him a toe, in fact, to keep him away from Andenge, because it's all about points here today, or certainly about points in this championship. As we're now seeing young Stinson rounding towards Portier now, in behind Infamous Pillars. Ahead of those two, though, all shot down, still trying to make moves on Aylin, who has managed to do extremely well to keep all these cars at bay here. He's trying to do his best to allow young Stinson into the race. Another late break here from all shot down. The grip levels on those medium tyres must be screaming right now with 4 laps to go. It's been absolutely phenomenal. We've only got a few laps remaining here, folks, and still the battles rage on. LPE has managed to go past I Am Sloth. 2 of the MTV cars are now relegated down into the bottom 10, as we're now seeing Aylin on the front end of all shot down. Oh, a little nudge in the back there on the back of the Nintendo car as they make their way down the stretch in behind young Stinson. Also looking to possibly get a move done here. Going into Sandoval. Will it be a late break heading into turn 1? No. No chance, he says. But Ravage next. A better runoff there by young Stinson. Will he force a move heading up towards Massenet? He looks in on the inside. A move here shuts the door. Infamous Pillars as they come around that Massenet bend into the casino corner, into the casino stretch. Pillars might up a move here. He's already under pressure, but no, as they run round Mirabeau. No moves made as they come round towards the Grand Hotel. Iestyn, heart in mouth stuff there.
Yeah, very close. That could have easily ended in tears for either drivers. Pillars picks up yet another penalty in this Grand Prix. Only a couple of drivers that have picked up that have gone the Grand Prix without picking up any penalties so far. Blaze Paulie Orange and Matteo and Chewy are the only 4 drivers that have gone the 36 laps so far without picking up any sort of penalty, which is impressive to see.
Yeah, I got to say, Blaze on task to getting his second win in a row, and a second win in a row for BMW as well. After that courageous effort at Vietnam, once again he's donning the street circuits here, and Pillars once again getting very close to the back of that BMW as they head around the Anthony Nogue section out onto the main straight now to commence their lap 36 of 39. Pillars looking to get a move done here. Can he do anything to get past all shot down? No, the car, that BMW, still doing its best to hold on despite being on 24 lap old medium tyres. Young Stinson having a good view in behind of all the action as Pillars is getting closer to the back of that Beamer as they head round the next right-hander now, round the casino corner, through to the casino stretch. The BMW still hanging on, no moves being made yet there by Infamous Pillars, still keeping that MTV car primed behind the BMW, and still Aylin holds on to that P5. This battle has been nothing short of intense. It's amazing to see, Iestyn.
Yeah, Aylin's doing his trolley train impression. There's a double lock event that happened, which is quite impressive to see. And he's just been doing really well, defending his P5 with 2 obviously quicker drivers. Obviously, all shut down is still out on those mediums. Surely those are starting to go, and this should help Infamous Pillars if those mediums do start to go off.
Yeah, absolutely. It's they must be feeling like Bambi on ice right now as we're now seeing Aylin come round. Indeed, Raskas heading into Anthony Nogues once again. Only 2 laps remaining in this race. And at this moment, it looks academic. BMW will take victory here today. All shot down, though. The other BMW car in P6 fighting with that of Aylin in the Nintendo car, currently leading the championship. Blue flags being waved. Not sure what that's about. I'm guessing that's to do with Paul Watson's Jaguar that's dead ahead of them right now as they come round Massenet. And you can see that Aylin still leads this contingent still. This has been going on right through this race as Pillars is maybe eyeing up a move here, going up round towards Mirabeau and very nearly all shot down, getting on the end of a nasty overtake there, but still it remains the same. Aylin leading them round the Grand Hotel hairpin, all shot down in P6. Infamous Pillars, you cannot take your eyes off this bout, folks. Young Stinson also in the fray as well on his medium tyres, but you get to thinking that maybe the hard tyres are coming to play. Have we got an update, Iestyn?
And Dange has gone for a spin at the end of the entry of the chicane. He was closing behind Paulie Orange and he went into the chicane a little bit deep. He tried to correct it and he went for a spin.
Well, I've got to say, that's not ideal for the Jaguar team. They've had a very poor day again today. Both their drivers in P14 and P16 with Andenge now spinning. Still remains in P4 nonetheless, but don't forget he's got penalties, so I've got to say it's not going to look very pretty for the green liveries. And certainly this evening, still at the back of the drivers, the team's championship. All shot down, still trying to prod on the back of Nintendo's Aylin, who's currently in P5, in behind Pillars, trying to ride on the back. A very slow exit there from all shot down out of Sandoval. As we're now seeing Pillars rounding that that corner there, heading round Massenet, round the casino stretch now into Mirabeau, getting very close in behind the BMW as they head round towards the Grand Hotel Hairpin. Oh my word, a tap in the bag once again from Pillars. A late break, nearly taking out All Shot Down and got very close indeed. All this has brought Chazza in as well, because Chazza is just floating in behind young Stints. Remember, he's on hard tyres, so MTV have been brought straight back into this. Maybe some last lap dramatics here from these drivers. They're going to throw everything into this. Iestyn, any predictions?
Not a clue. I don't want to put any money or any prediction on this, so I don't really know, or don't really want to predict what on earth's going to happen in this last lap. We don't know if Pillars has got a little bit of damage on that front wing with that collision of the hairpin, a tap of the wall there for the MTV car. An opportunity for young Stinston to gain a couple of positions on this last lap.
Yeah, as they round now through Anthony Noakes on the outset. Here comes the Nintendo car. Pillars potentially in jeopardy as they head into Sandavot. Will he go for a last gasp here on the last lap? No, indeed, young Stinson holds on. Might make a move here, heading up the Beau Rivage. As they do so, you can see All Shot Down still gunning after Aylin, who's managed to create a gap of approximately 6.5 tenths of a second, now up to 7 tenths. And Pillars might be in danger here. He's run on the front end now of young Stinson, heading round towards Mirabeau, and indeed no move can be made. Young Stinson unable to capitalise, but he might get his chance in the tunnel, Iestyn.
You never know, he might have a really good exit from the tunnel, and you might go for it down the inside in the chicane. Only time will tell.
Well, Blaze, just so you know, Blaze is coming around the last corner. What a phenomenal drive here for the BMW man. He will take victory here at Monaco, and that will be his second of the season following that Vietnam race last week. Droftas coming round in P2 as well, and he will finish up in second place, at least for the time being, for JCB. Paulie Orange as well in P3, not sustaining a single penalty, but he could not bring the deficit in enough in order to snatch that P2 spot. He will remain in P3, and Denge will cross the line in P4 for Jaguar. Respectable points there for the green team. Aylin there in P5. All Shot Down in P6, young Stinson in P7 is how it'll stay. Infamous Pillars dropped down to P9, some serious penalties being accrued. His teammate Chazza, in fact, finishes ahead of him in P8. Matteo in P10, Chewy joining him in P11. Good points for Nintendo here today. I Am Sloth in P12, LPE in P13. Disappointed today for Jaguar, as we already discussed. Ramsel, of course, up towards the back for BMW, but it's been a good day for BMW nonetheless. Paul Watson courageously finishes in P15. Xerxes in P16. He is the last of the running cars after Mad Scientist DNF'd earlier on in the race. But absolutely phenomenal racing here, Iestyn. We were treated to an absolute clinic, but the winner, not without question, it is Blaze who tackles top spot.
Well, why can't we have racing like that at Monaco every year in real life? That's what I want to know.
Well, I think we were entitled to it, and it certainly was a clinic, and we will watch Blaze now taking the top step of the podium here at the Monte Carlo Street Circuit. We were treated to some incredible racing here today, and as he steps up onto the podium, jumping for joy, he capitalizes on a great performance here. The strategy came through, certainly for BMW here today. He takes the top step and his award, and throws the champagne, spurts it out everywhere, and the team of JCB will be chuffed to have two drivers on the podium here today. Droftas and Paulie Orange doing their team proud. It was a phenomenal race indeed, folks, as we run through the final classifications. Blaze is your P1 sitter here today. A phenomenal win there for that man in the BMW. Droftas in P2 for JCB, and that caps off a double podium for that team there with Paulie Orange in P3. And Denge, the Swedish driver, P4 for Jaguar. Aylin, the Nintendo driver, P5. All Shot Down. A phenomenal drive there from the BMW man, P6. He was challenging all the way. Young Stinson for Nintendo finishing P7. Chazza could not quite get it done for MTV. Finishes ahead of his teammate Pillars, though, who's in P9. Matteo in P10 for the Nintendo team, as well as Chewy. Sloth finishes in P12 for MTV, as well as LPE, who had a bad race there. Just did not quite work for him there. The Welshman finishes P13 there for Jaguar. Ramsel P14. Paul Watson in P15 for Jaguar. Xerxes in P16, last of the running cars. Mad Scientist, our only DNF of the race. But it was a clinic, folks. The winner, without question, was Blaze. I got to say, anything you can round off there, because obviously just assessing that race, Iestyn, we were treated to some phenomenal action, and indeed, Blaze getting the job done where it counted.
Yeah, Blaze did a phenomenal drive just to stay out in front, pull away, and he just did what he had to do. the scrapping for P5 was brilliant to see, right up until to the very end. A truly phenomenal race.
Yeah, that's what we like to see. Good, consistent driving, good racing up towards the final lap. They kept going in the midfield, which was phenomenal to see. The battle was just absolutely intoxicating. Great to watch. Me and Iestyn were enjoying it as well, I'm sure, as the spectators in the live chat too. We're glad to be joined here by two of our podium sitters from the JCB team, that of being of Droftas and as well as Paulie Orange. Guys, a phenomenal race. We'll start with you, Droftas. P2 there. It looked a bit harum-scarum towards the end of that race. Oh, sorry, Paulie Orange finished P3. Sorry, Droftas finishing P2. Another great race at Monaco for yourself, though, and great points for JCB here today.
Yeah, we'll take 2 and 3. It's not too bad, especially with my 6 seconds of penalties. Worked out okay.
Yeah, it certainly was a tough one. Certainly, it seemed to me that you were sort of battling with team orders there between yourself and Orange, deciding what was the right strategy. I think halfway through, trying to apply the pressure on to Andenge, I'm guessing, because Paulie Orange was on the faster strategy in terms of having the mediums on halfway through. Obviously, we had a couple of safety cars. Was that a conscious decision, swapping around midway?
Yeah, we were talking. He was on the faster tyre. He had less penalties, so he might as well go for it. But when he got his wing damage, he just let me back through. So, because obviously I was a bit quicker than once he had damage, so not too bad.
I mean, obviously the race was set. The Blaze pretty much picked up his ball and ran home with it. I mean, he was pretty much on his own out on the track, uncontested. Obviously, I think Andenge responsible, I suppose, of holding up a lot of the traffic and not really allowing anyone to really contest to Blaze's P1 spot. Was it just the case that the Blaze was just too quick on the day, or was it just the case that you fell to where you were in the track? Because Monaco, it's not really an easy place to overtake, is it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's the nature of the track, isn't it? Being stuck behind the slower car, you got to try and get past them. But before the safety car, I had closed the gap to him. I'd caught him back up, but safety car was perfect timing for him. He jumped in the pits and then it came out, so it couldn't have been any better timing.
No, absolutely superb.
I made a stupid decision to change my wing, which obviously cost me P2, and then it wouldn't have changed anything with my penalties anyway. But still, it could have given him a fight maybe.
Yeah, well, no, it's a good, certainly a good win for Blaze as well. We're hoping we see him in the interview room here today to discuss things. But obviously, looking ahead, we have got Azerbaijan ahead. That's the next race, of course. Droftas, can we gauge your thoughts and feelings as to your thoughts about the Baku circuit? I know you like your street circuits. Is Baku one of them?
Yeah, I like Baku. Baku's good fun, wet or dry. So looking forward to that.
Oh, well, we expect to see more points for JCB next week then. Well done, Droftas. Great P2. And we'll move on now to your teammate, Paulie Orange. Orange, a bit of a tough one for you out there today. You certainly seem to have the pace on the circuit. It seems to me that the way the race was set, that the penalties upset your race, and also that missing end plate. Just talk us through that. Was that pretty much the crux of your day? Orange, you there? Not seem to be getting a response from Orange's side, but we do have Blaze in the chat though. We can speak to our P1 sitter. Blaze, welcome to the comms box. A phenomenal race from yourself. An incredible qualifying capped off by a truly exceptional race. Just talk us through it. It looked easy peasy for you out there.
Yeah, thank you at first. Yeah, it was an awesome race from my side. Basically leading every lap. Yeah, I got a bit, I don't know why Andon jumped Droftas. But because of that, I got like a big gap, and from then on, it was just like managing. Yeah, but it was a good race, really good weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, you seem to benefit from being at the front end of the grid. They certainly say at Monaco, if you qualify P1, you have the advantage. I mean, overtaking nigh on impossible around the Monte Carlo street circuit. The way the race was set, though, it certainly seemed to me that the safety car helped you out. You pretty much pitted right when the safety car came out. Just how fortunate was that, and how much did that aid your result at the end of the race?
Yeah, I was really happy with that. That was like, I was surprised because I just went in and I didn't really realize, but then I just saw it popping up, and then was like, oh yeah, let's go. But to be fair, I think if it wouldn't came out, I could have got like a really massive undercut on Droftas and a big gap. So I think it helped me, but in the end, I think I could have got a big gap until he pitted, and then from then on just manage as well. But yeah,
well, it
helped me.
It was a superb drive from yourself, and you seem to be a bit of a master when it comes to street circuits, taking up a win in Vietnam. Of course, we've had no race there in real life, but you capitalised on that performance, and once again, you come here to Monaco, another P1 for yourself. Surely that must give you oozes of confidence leading into Baku. Obviously, that street circuit, very tight corners as well. The castle section, very risque. How do you think you're going to handle that? Do you feel confident heading into the Azerbaijan race?
Yeah, I really like street circuits, and especially Baku. It's like, I think, one of my best tracks. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, I've got to say, we look forward to seeing you back again on the top end. Congratulations, Blaze, and we look forward to seeing you once again next week. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. I'm hoping we can get word from Paulie Orange. I understand that his mic does not work on his laptop. So unfortunately, we're unable to hear from him. Paulie Orange, are you coming in at all? Can we hear you? No, nothing at all. I think from his comments, though, obviously his mic not quite working there. So unfortunately, we can't get any comments here from that man in the JCB. But folks, I hope you all enjoyed that action out there today. It was certainly absolutely stunning. And I got to say, fair enough, the JCB team seemed to benefit certainly after an incredible performance there, Iestyn. Obviously, we'll really add some spice into the season. And of course, the battle for the team championship is absolutely massive at the moment. What are your thoughts heading into the next few races? Obviously, we've got to the street circuit next week. Can we expect more drama, some more carnage, some more chaos, perhaps?
Yeah, if Blaze says that Baku's his strongest track, and I'm expecting him to win by about 2 years. So that'd be interesting to see. Well done to the top three, who drove really well. Unfortunately, we come to Paulie Orange's thoughts on the Grand Prix. Stinson had a bit of a shocker, but recovered well near the end of that Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to say, great day at the office for the JCB team, picking up some very good points. But obviously, Blaze, the man to look forward to watching, certainly going into next week. I got to say, Baku is going to be absolutely interesting. I cannot wait to see what will occur here at Formula 4. This split certainly adding some real spice into league racing. This is certainly very different racing, something you've never seen before in league racing. We're hoping to bring more of it to you as well. But like we said, folks, please leave a like and a subscribe if you haven't done so already, and do not hesitate to join us once again for next week's race. Of course, like I said, we're heading to Baku at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and that will be on Monday at 8 o'clock. Please do join the live stream. The stream will go live from 7:30. We will, of course, have the countdown ticking away before we unleash the fury of our Formula 4 broadcast. And myself and Iestyn will be on hand to bring you the action for that Grand Prix. But until then, folks, please leave a like and subscribe. But we'll see you next week. Pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. Goodbye.